my choice for America's Cup winner this year. Don't let me down.
I can say THOMPSIN.
MADREAMDY and TRUEWHALE, bro.
We'll say THOMPSIN.
I think TRUEWHALE's going to bring home America's Cup this time around.
BIGV.
SWC should be amazing this year.
Speed lead on the side of BIGV as BIGV. You're gonna see the giant net coming out.
You have 3 monsters around you, but they're all a
THOMPSIN is gonna be taking J-Mac.
We're hoping for, but to take it in games.
Win one right here, of course, Chiwu. It's a big victory for BIGV.
Although I didn't like it, is getting a lot of turns here. It's giving a lot of protection of team leads.
Summoners War World Arena Championship format. Tournament favorite is our first ever Summoners War World Arena Champion. That's enough! He takes it! BD is our champion! It's
John is going to be this year's SWC champion.
Legendary like my birthplace. It's my time like my birthday.
I'm standing up for the world to see. And I came to leave a legacy.
my choice for America's Cup winner this year. Don't let me down.
I can say THOMPSIN.
MADREAMDY and TRUEWHALE, bro.
We'll say THOMPSIN.
I think TRUEWHALE's going to bring home America's Cup this time around.
BIGV.
SWC should be amazing this year.
Speed lead on the side of BIGV as BIGV. You're gonna see the giant net coming out.
You have 3 monsters around you, but they're all a
THOMPSIN is gonna be taking J-Mac.
We're hoping for, but to take it in games.
Win one right here, of course, Chiwu. It's a big victory for BIGV.
Although I didn't like it, is getting a lot of turns here. It's giving a lot of protection of team leads.
Summoners War World Arena Championship format. Tournament favorite is our first ever Summoners War World Arena Champion.
He takes it! BD is our champion! It worked!
John is going to be this year's SWC champion.
Legendary like my birthplace. It's my time like my birthday.
No one can change my destiny. I'm standing up so the world can see that I came to leave a legacy.
SWC 2022 is underway as we had 2 players qualify for the America's Cup yesterday in the preliminaries, and we have 2 more coming at you with a stacked roster of players and matches for preliminaries day number 2. Hi everyone, I'm Daniel Digon Gonzalez, and we want to welcome you back into the studio here for SWC 2022 America's Cup Prelims Day 2. I'm not breaking down the action. Back is the dynamic duo together. It's Stoic and Make It a Bud. Stoic, how you feeling after day number 1, brother?
Feeling really good after day number 1. We had a really exciting day, but we've got a couple bangers today to go over.
Are you feeling good? Or you feel a little sleepy, man? Come on! We wait all year for this, man.
Oh, what are you talking about? I'm good.
All right, Make It a Bud, how you doing, brother?
Doing great. Had a couple of energy drinks, and there's a lot of great matches today that I really look forward to. A lot of history between some of these players, and so I can't wait to see what they have to bring to the table.
Definitely,
today.
and of course, all the players are vying for a spot at the World Finals and their share of the $140,000 prize pool that will be happening in Seoul, Korea. Again, the tournament at the World Finals will be all best of 5s all the way on through. That'll happen November 11th here in North America. Over there, it'll be November 12th. And again, the big prize pool. But of course, before we get to the World Finals, we have to do the America's Cup, which is why we're here today. Let's take a look at that one. America's Cup, 8 players qualifying on in for the 2 spots at the World Championship being occupied by the Americas region. It's for $20,000 in that tournament as well. All best of 5s all the way up and down, and that'll happen in HK Hall in New York City, October 8th. Going to be a lot of fun to be there, and what a joyous moment to finally be back in person. Stella, can you believe it? Back in person.
I know, it's been so long since we've been able to do anything in person. I mean, things are finally clearing up, things are getting healthier in this world, and it's going to be a really good show to have that live audience.
I know, both of you guys got to go. What was it, you went to Paris, right? Like, Make It a Bud, you got to go to Paris too. What was that moment like for you?
Oh, that was absolutely amazing to see the live audience. We had 2 live tournaments that year. We had OGN Arena down in Manhattan Beach for the America's Cup, and then we had, forgot the venue name, but we had a tournament in Paris, and there was just hundreds, and then I think it was 1,000 people. Great auditorium, lots of lights, lots of artificial smoke in the air. It was just different. It's different when you hear the audience, feel the energy, and then you have the players right next to you doing their thing. So look forward to this.
For sure, and again, That's what these players are qualifying for, our first opportunity back in person in New York City. We had 2 players qualify yesterday in our matches. We take a look at the bracket from yesterday. Oh, just kidding. We're taking a look at the prelim structure. So again, we have 2 people qualifying per day. It'll be 6 matches per day. The quarterfinals will happen at first. Remember, if you lose, you're not out. That's both day 1 and day 2. And then for day 3, all the players that lost yesterday and today still have that final opportunity. If you lost in the first round, you still got to win 2 to get in. But if you won in the second round, then you will only need 1 round to make it on back. So again, that is the preliminaries that we have. And again, what we've been doing since I've been here the last 3 years. So take a look at the bracket. Yesterday, we had some new faces come on in. A couple of old faces end up prevailing, though, as Zepha cut through everyone there, as El Mimo also got himself a victory but wasn't able to qualify on through. And then on the bottom side of the map, we had 1 known quantity in Topa V who fell early to the 3 newcomers that were coming on in. And you know what? The young man that qualified, I think he likes his pancakes a little salty because he cut through the fluff really well and made everyone feel not so good. It was Spires qualifying on into the America's Cup. 3-1. So Zepha and Spires are your qualifiers already to New York City. Who will join them? Let's take a look at today's bracket because it is absolutely stacked all the way up and down. We'll start at the bottom. At the final match of our quarterfinals, it'll be Big V and Thompson. That's right. America's Cup champions going head-to-head in the quarterfinals. Then we've got MADREAMDY and DRMZJOSEPH, who also have had Worlds experience. Joseph always finding a way to qualify on in, do the most with the least. Then RAIGEKI and Hope. And then right off the top, TRUEWHALE and QDizzle. So guys, my question to you is, what are you most excited about when you take a look at this bracket here, Stoic?
There's just so many matches here. This is definitely the day a lot of people were waiting for. We've got that return of Big V and Thompson that's got a lot of attention there. And you can't help but notice a big name like TRUEWHALE. Everybody expects that man to do very, very well. But we'll see how well he does here in today's tournament because there is a lot of big names today.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, every single match here today is hyped. There's a big name here. This is the bracket of death. When we looked at the brackets, you know, I told some of the people in the first day that you guys have it easy compared to the ones in the second day. The second day, every single matchup is difficult. You have TRUEWHALE, former season legend, which is very difficult. RAIGEKI has been playing out of his mind lately. Thompson, very strong player. You have so many good players, so many LDs to the that are going to be brought to the table today. So it's just going to be a lot of diverse matches, a lot of interesting things that we're going to see.
And we have our first match of the day. You saw it fly there for half a second. TRUEWHALE and QDizzle. Again, usually the top of the show, you have the biggest disparity in your ranking. And today is true as well, as TRUEWHALE comes on in, rated second in Season 20, and then 7th in Season 21. Again, I think this is our first player we've seen that has had single-digit rankings in all of America's Cup here, Stoic.
Yep, it really is. I mean, this is someone that everybody's terrified to go up against. I mean, just looking at the units that he drafts, every one of them are a banger. Every one of them is a unit that some people wish to have in their accounts, and he's got multiple of them. He's got a lot of weapons, a lot of tools that people have to worry about. Drafting against him is extremely important.
Now, on the opposite side, QDizzle, his opponent, a little bit lesser known about him, did well in Season 20, rated 90th, and fell off a little bit there, Season 21. Maybe he was just sitting back and prepping for America's Cup. He knew, oh, once I make it in, you know, within the double digits, I should be fine. What do you make of his box here and the opportunity that he has, Make It a Bud?
It's tough to speak about the opportunity that he has, but if there is one, I would say that it may be the ability to put together some sort of a cleave. You see the Moore there, you see a lot of Beast Riders. He's going to come in with a lot of aggression and try to catch TRUEWHALE off guard. So I think a lot of this is going to be juggling that turn 2 ability to play a turn 2 game versus being able to dominate with the turn 1 gameplay. And that's what's going to make this matchup interesting. TRUEWHALE has all of these LD units. He has a Narsha if he wants to go turn 1. He has Volantis. He has Tian Lang if he wants to disrupt turn 2. He has Nana to survive as one of his most picked units. And he also has a Pontos, which we haven't seen very much. Provides invincibility and a speed lead. It's a lot of flexibility that unit brings. There's just so many ways that this matchup can go, depending on how TRUEWHALE dictates it because of the LDs.
Yeah, and that is one of the beautiful things about when we're talking about players that have such great boxes and have a lot of experience and success on such a high scale, it's the fact that they're able to play multiple different ways. We see players that aren't rated as highly, don't have as big of a box, they try to make it work and it's not quite there. Maybe they don't have the rune quality or the mon that they need, and they get caught in between. But TRUEWHALE Stoic is one of the few players that feels like could actually play multiple different styles.
And that's why he's been doing so well, especially with the meta that we have going on right now. We've never seen so many viable units in an RTA meta before. Like Season 20, Season 21, in our season that we've going on right now, there's just so many things that people can draft. So the more you have, the better you can play in this game. And I mean, TRUEWHALE digs into the LDs, so he's just got so much available to use.
All right, guys, one-word answers. Who's taking this one in our first match of the day? Stoic, you first.
Well, TRUEWHALE's 2 words. I'm going to go with TRUEWHALE.
It's one name. Yeah, it's basically the same thing. What about you, Megan Butt?
Cute as well. No, I'm kidding. It's TRUEWHALE. I'm kidding. TRUEWHALE's gonna win. I just wanted to give you a pause to see what happens. I think TRUEWHALE's gonna win. I think it's gonna be an uphill battle for Q-Dizzle, but anything can happen.
And that is the beauty of America's Cup. Anything can happen. Let's get into the first match of day number 2 prelims. It's Q-Dizzle versus TRUEWHALE.
That is right. Let's kick this thing off, guys. We've got TRUEWHALE and we've got Q-Dizzle. It's gonna be an exciting one. We've got a massive player in the form of TRUEWHALE and Q David versus Goliath here in this match.
Definitely David versus Goliath. When you have someone always at the top of the ladder versus someone who is usually not, definitely the odds are not stacked in Q-Dizzle's favor here. Interesting to see that Q-Dizzle has first pick. TRUEWHALE has opted to let Q-Dizzle take that first pick. Remember, the higher ranking player dictates who takes that first pick here. And if he does that, it probably means that TRUEWHALE's going to want to go and have two first picks and values maybe more of a second turn play, and wants to have that last pick to seal off his draft here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen, and like we had mentioned before, that the draft is going to be extremely important with TRUEWHALE. So, like you said, opting to go for 2 first picks and just go turn 2 in that second match, that we'll see where things go.
And you know, as we come back to here, I want to know, you know, maybe it could be a lot of things there could be a lot of things going on in this matchup. I mean, there's just so many things that TRUEWHALE could bring to the table. Although it'll be interesting to see how he drafts today. I was chatting with him yesterday. I know he's out camping right now, playing on a Starlink Wi-Fi. So, you know, definitely an interesting SWC experience to be playing out there, out in the wilderness. But we'll see how it goes. And it looks like the draft's actually underway. So it looks like we missed quite a bit there. But we see a Nana, Oliver, Jogun into a lot of control and a Tian Lang from TRUEWHALE's side.
Yeah, definitely. You can take note of those pre-bans as well. Ragdoll and Daphnis. TRUEWHALE pre-banning the Daphnis here. I wonder if that's a little bit of homework as well. And TRUEWHALE's looking to wrap up his draft with a Volantis.
Great. So he wraps up his draft with the Volantis here. I know that's an incredibly well-runed Volantis. If I was Q-Dizzle, I'd be thinking about banning either the Sekhmet or the Vanessa, but honestly, the Volantis is going to provide so much disruption into the Jogun. So TRUEWHALE has a very good last pick, and also that Shizuka is going to give him a lot of flexibility. I think Oliver probably has to be a ban here, but I wouldn't be surprised to see another damage dealer taken out. So Jogun is the ban, and Volantis, of course, a very disruptive unit, is also banned as well. So look to see TRUEWHALE take turn 1, see what he resets, and then see how Q-Dizzle responds to that.
All right, well, let's get into our very first match today with TRUEWHALE and Q-Dizzle. TRUEWHALE's going to be taking turn 1 with that Sekhmet.
Yeah, and interesting to note, if you look at how fast that Savannah is, it might even be on Swift, which is not going to play out in his favor if this match drags on for a long time.
See the reset landing on top of the Savannah as well. Savannah choosing to go after that Sekhmet. Sekhmet seems to be the unit of focus right now. Gets a little bit of an attack break here. Rolling the dice to see what second skill is going to provide for TRUEWHALE. Only getting a stun on top of the Savannah.
Yeah, only getting a stun on the Savannah, but that's a lot of damage that Tian Lang did to that Savannah. So either a really squishy Savannah or a really hard-hitting Tian Lang. And that's a lot of damage that Sekhmet's eating from that matchup.
Yeah, definitely a lot of damage indeed. You can see the third skill going out, getting the reset on top of the Sekhmet. Vanessa looking to get a defense break on top of Oliver. It does land true here. We do have third skill. He could get a little bit of value with stuns and does choose to go for it.
Yeah, it gets a lot of value from those stuns. TRUEWHALE's draft here is looking a little bit challenging because QDizzle does have the Nana Orb to protect him, give him a little bit of resilience, and QDizzle has a lot more damage and a lot more aggression coming out to the side of TRUEWHALE. So TRUEWHALE's going to need to proc a couple of times on this Shizuka to have a safe win here. Otherwise, there could be a lot of back and forth, and this match really could go any way right now.
It really could. I mean, there's an orb potentially coming up again to stack up for 2. If he can get rid of that segment, you can really see he's trying to get rid of that unit as soon as possible. He does have that skill 2. Let's see if he goes for the skill 2 instead of the skill 3. Only getting value on top of the Oliver.
Wow, unfortunate. That Savannah missing, that's segment missing pretty much everything. And right away, Nana has 2 orbs, so that's a lot of resilience that QDizzle has on his field.
That's a lot of orbs with the 2 Beast Riders as well, being able to be revived back onto their beasts again. Unit of focus is definitely going to be that Oliver. I think he wants to pump all those orbs out of that Oliver so we don't have to worry about any of the Beast Riders reviving that.
Yeah, but at this point here, QDizzle only has 1 orb left and has a really, really squishy Oliver. Looks like he's going to lose another unit really quickly here. TRUEWHALE's Tianling does a ton of damage here, so TRUEWHALE actually has a very good chance to come ahead in this match if Tianling keeps proccing like it has.
Yeah, he's looking for some Sekhmet procs as well. Savannah, probably with Sekhmet in the eyes right now, trying to get another orb up as soon as possible. We've got Sekhmet with just a skill 1, possibly going to do that damage into the Oliver. No, goes to the attack break onto the Masha.
Yeah, it goes for the attack break on the Masha here. It needs to do that because that Sekhmet might be going down here and giving Nana 1 more orb. And I don't think that Vanessa's passive is up, but that proc is massive and might take out that Sekhmet here.
Massive proc right there to drop the Sekhmet. That's 2 orbs back on top of the Nana. Definitely looking really good for QDizzle right now.
Yeah, looking absolutely good for QDizzle. I'm not really sure what value this Vanessa brings to this draft here. It's just kind of sitting here reviving units, but it doesn't really provide aggression. So TRUEWHALE's going to need to have a couple of procs on that Shizuka, and that's another proc on that Masha.
That's big damage. Savannah dropping the Tianling. TRUEWHALE definitely with his back up against the wall here. Oliver doing his Oliver things. We got that 3rd skill going for the reset. And there you have it. QDizzle taking round 1 away from TRUEWHALE.
Wow, I don't think that was the outcome or the opening that anyone expected here. I mean, we got into the draft a little quickly, so it was tough to see what the reasoning was or really think through what happened there. But I'm not sure I like that draft of Vanessa by TRUEWHALE. I mean, when you look at how many LDs he has and what his options are, taking a Vanessa feels kind of free to play compared to what he could really be doing there. So it's a little interesting to see why he picked that. And that was a lot of aggression coming from QDizzle's side. Typically, when you're underranked or behind or not favored, you want to bring in a lot of aggression because any couple of procs can swing that match in your favor.
Yeah, I'm not too sure he really needed that 33 speed lead. I think that's the only reason why he was trying to go for it and have a little bit of value with those resets. But I also agree with you. I don't like the Vanessa at all. But pre-bans from last time, Ragdoll Daphnis, new pre-bans coming out right now.
Yeah, and I'm not sure exactly what that Daphnis pre-ban was about because there's so many units that can provide aggression. There's Molongs, there's all kinds, you can even draft into Ikaris, as you saw. There was a Jogun, there's Savannah's, Mashas. So I'm not sure if Daphnis is the right pre-ban there. Volantis taken out, makes sense to take out an LD unit. TRUEWHALE taking out the Oliver, so he doesn't want to fight a 33 speed lead.
That is right. First pick for TRUEWHALE is going to be the Shizuka, seeing value in that unit. QDizzle bringing back the Nana once again. Now, this is not as a unit that TRUEWHALE was drafting a whole lot, and deciding not to take this unit right now is a little interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting that TRUEWHALE's taking the Shizuka first, but it makes sense given the LDs that he has in his back pocket. He does have Pontos, he does have quite a few other units. Shizuka does give him a lot of resilience, but his opponent likes to play very aggressive, so I'm not sure about Shizuka into this particular opponent. That Jogun is going to do quite a bit of work, but you see TRUEWHALE responding with an AoE comp, which we actually don't see coming out of TRUEWHALE very often.
No, not at all. Water Ryu Moore coming out with the Changpeng. 2 picks here in response is going to be double Beast Riders once again. That's a lot of value with a Nana.
Yeah, I really do like TRUEWHALE's more in Changpeng into QDizzle, knowing that QDizzle runs an AoE type comp here. But QDizzle responding with, I think it was a Swift Savannah and then a Masha. He does bring a lot of aggression. He's likely going to need one more stripper up top. I mean, a Triton or a Wunsa would be great from him to seal off the draft. TRUEWHALE's going to bring in 2 fire units, Fire Bison and Sekhmet. I think I really like these 2 picks here. Could ban out the Jogun again, as he did last time, and use Sekhmet to reset a Savannah to kick things off.
Now, let's see, this last pick for QDizzle is going to be a Rika coming through for QDizzle. Interesting choice here.
Yeah, so TRUEWHALE's going to have to probably ban out that Rika. If that Rika does get through, and usually they're on 100 res, so it could be a little challenging to deal with, that Rika would probably win the game on the spot. So it's either Joe Gunn or Rika, but I think I would lean more towards a Rika ban here. And if I was QDizzle, I'd be looking at either taking out the Sekhmet or taking out the Shizuka, which can turn the tides. But of course, there's also the Fire Bison, which if it gets off is dangerous. So there's many options for QDizzle to ban out, but I really think Rika is the thing that TRUEWHALE should be targeting on his ban.
Oh, there's that Rika. Rika is getting banned out, and we've got the Carnal, the Fire Bison getting banned out here. Speed lead for TRUEWHALE, and just an attack lead on the side of QDizzle.
Yeah, and so the way TRUEWHALE's drafted, that Moore is going to need to pump out a ton of damage because aside from Changpeng, that's all he has for damage. So we'll see how much damage this Moore is able to do over the course of the game.
Well, we've got a reset coming out for Sekhmet. Sekhmet looking to start things off right with TRUEWHALE. Let's see if he lands it. He does get that reset to land here. Skill 2 coming out with the Water Ryu, looking for some attack bar pushback here. No Despair Stuns coming through, though. Serious Matter's going to be dropping here. He goes for it to reduce the attack bars and get some resets. A lot of value sitting on top of QDizzle right now.
Yeah, a lot of value there, but unfortunately does not reset the attack bars of Masha, so Masha's going to have immunity to protect it, and TRUEWHALE does quite a bit of damage onto that Savannah, but again, QDizzle has more than half HP on most of his units, so TRUEWHALE's going to need to get to work, going to need to pump in damage, or else once immunity falls off, there's going to be a lot of damage coming out from these Beast Riders.
Yeah, and they're pumping in some serious numbers on top of that Changpeng. Changpeng looks like it's going to be an easy target for QDizzle to take out, meaning a second orb is going to be very easy for him to pick up here. Defense break sitting on top of the Savannah. I wonder if he's going to be trying to go after that to get a quick dismount here.
Yeah, but TRUEWHALE also needs to be careful that his Changpeng looks kind of squishy here, might be taken out by this Masha. This Masha does have attack buff here, and so QDizzle takes out this Changpeng. It's going to be really tough for TRUEWHALE to come back.
Yeah, most definitely, and I think the Nana is going to be there to finish it off. Definitely not looking very good for TRUEWHALE at all. Once again, QDizzle with a winning victory in sight.
Yeah, QDizzle definitely in a really good spot here. It's 2 orbs on Nana. That Changpeng does get revived, but unfortunately skills are on cooldown, so TRUEWHALE's going to need to hang on to be able to bring this Changpeng back one more time. But there's so much aggression coming out from QDizzle's side, I don't know if TRUEWHALE has enough to hang on here.
Yeah, that is a ton of aggression here. There's no value in trying to kill this Savannah because you know it's going to be coming back on a Beast Rider. Skill 2 available with Water Ryu. Looking to get any value here whatsoever. Cannot remove any of that immunity on top of the Masha as well. We've got the scroll that can come out here. It tries to scroll away that Sekhmet, and it does land true.
Yeah, and unfortunately, as mentioned, TRUEWHALE's going to need to do a lot of damage with this Moore to win the game, but as you saw, that Moore didn't kill anything. It looks like it needs a little bit more artifacts or needs a legend grind out his runes. Something is missing there. TRUEWHALE has not taken out any units. QDizzle still has 2 orbs, so this is a massive uphill battle for TRUEWHALE to come across.
It really is. You can see he's going to try pummeling the damage on top of the Jogan. Jogan's going to get removed from the field, but he's going to come back with the orb. 1 orb left on top of the Nana. He's going to keep trying to pump in that damage on top of the Jogan, potentially on the Nana as well. If he can remove the Nana, he might be able to sweep both Beast Riders with this Moore.
Yeah, might be able to sweep both Beast Riders, and Nana's also low on HP. Jogan is low on HP, so TRUEWHALE just needs a proc, needs to not get crit by this Masha if he wants to have a chance.
Ooh, let's see what's going to be happening. Definitely TRUEWHALE on the edge of his seat right now. He needs to take away a unit if he can. We've got Moore looking to deal some big damage. Can he get through?
And Moore's cooldown is coming up, so I think TRUEWHALE might actually be in a good spot here, but it'll depend if he can survive because Moore's going to be able to do a lot of damage, but it gets stunned.
Big Despair Stun going out onto the Moore. He would have had that second skill available here. Defense break sitting on top of him. Savannah's not able to finish off that Moore there. Serious Matter is going to be available here on top of the Changpeng. Changpeng eliminating Savannah, killing the Nana as well. We've got Joe Gunn looking so low right here.
Joe Gunn looking low, and Moore is going to move next, and it has its skills up. So TRUEWHALE looking like he's in a good spot and is going to take this one home.
He's going to go with the big second skills. That could be enough damage to swipe the field. Nana's the only one available. TRUEWHALE makes a very, very edge of the seat response here, taking down QDizzle in this second match.
Definitely taking down QDizzle here. There's nothing this Nana can do, but what a back and forth here, and TRUEWHALE evens it up 1-1.
That is not the kind of match TRUEWHALE wants to play. He definitely is looking for a more secured victory. He was on the edge of his seat the entire match. The RNG was swaying, and that Despair Stun dropping on Moore just totally stopped him in his tracks there, and he was very nervous in that moment.
Yeah, what a match there. I mean, we thought TRUEWHALE was done, but I guess that Moore was able to do enough damage over time, was able to bring the HP of his opponents, of QDizzle's monsters down at a certain point where he was able to finally finish him off altogether. There was a lot of orbs on that Nana. It was a large uphill battle to climb. He even got stunned on his more along the way and was able to hang on. So what a back and forth. That really could have gone either way. And it's just probably the room quality of TRUEWHALE allowing him to hang in there.
Well, hopefully we get a better draft coming out of TRUEWHALE, because that's not how he wants to play those kind of matches. But QDizzle still trying to hold on. I'm definitely liking the Nana first pick coming out of QDizzle. He's getting a ton of value out of that unit.
Yeah, I really like that Nana first pick and bringing in that aggression, balancing the turn 2 surviving type play of Nana, using it to provide a little bit of aggression, and then being able to bring damage into your opponent. I'm not exactly a fan of TRUEWHALE's passive play right now, given the fact that he has so many weapons in his box. He's got a Narsha, he has a Tyrannese. I really think he should be dipping into those units and just isolating QDizzle's units off the field. I think TRUEWHALE should be looking to try to cleave his opponent down or do some damage off the bat. Eliminate units, and once you eliminate a unit, your opponent's draft tends to fall apart, especially if you're a high damage, more squishy type comp.
This is a super interesting pre-ban coming out of QDizzle and TRUEWHALE. We've got Sekhmet and Savannah getting pre-banned.
Yeah, Savannah pre-ban's a little interesting. TRUEWHALE probably just doesn't want to fight against that type of RNG. The Savannah's probably a violent build after looking their attack bars for a little bit. And I think the Sekhmet pre-ban does make sense, because that Sekhmet was able to reset QDizzle's units and make that opening a little tricky. So TRUEWHALE trying to lessen the RNG that can happen, and decides to go with a Shizuka Carnal. Interesting picks here.
Super interesting picks indeed from TRUEWHALE. QDizzle responding with an Oliver. I do enjoy seeing an Oliver here, and he's probably going to be bringing another stripper to go with it.
I think it's a Masha here, because Masha is just such a good unit in a Carnal, and it's decent into a Shizuka. It's not the worst. It's kind of a neutral pick here, but I think Masha is a pick that he should be thinking about bringing in. Instead, brings in a Moore, which is also acceptable, but he does need to complete with the Changpeng and some other AoE damage dealer to finish off his draft. I think if TRUEWHALE were to draft some sort of like a Tianlang Changpeng, or some way to counter, or even a Pontos Changpeng, he would be in a pretty good spot against QDizzle, who would need a lot more pieces to counter that.
Well, the amount of weapons TRUEWHALE has available right here, it could honestly be anything. So we'll be seeing TRUEWHALE's response shortly, and it's going to be a Ragdoll Dominic.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the Dominic's always pretty good pick in this type of meta, but again, TRUEWHALE has so many weapons, he could open it any way he wants. Ragdoll's not exactly the best into an Oliver. It's great into a Moore, so we know that he's probably going to let that Moore through. But if there's any type of opening that unit you don't want to let QDizzle has, it's that Moore, because it's going to give him a good opening.
Yep, and the Volantis looks like it's going to be the unit wrapping up TRUEWHALE's draft here. We do finally see the Daphnis coming through on QDizzle's draft. I'm curious if that might be a unit that TRUEWHALE does not want to see.
Yeah, if I was TRUEWHALE, I would be scared of that Daphnis, because that's a lot of RNG. Once that Daphnis gets across, it's probably going to nuke out the Dominic. I think QDizzle's probably going to take out the Volantis. I think that unit provides the most RNG to him. Definitely not taking out the Carnal, and Shizuka's likely not going to be the takeout. I think Volantis is probably a unit that's the scariest to fight against. And if I'm TRUEWHALE, Daphnis probably presents the most RNG, although I could see a weird argument for a Moore, but it wouldn't make a lot of sense given that he laid a Dominic after. It looks like Daphnis and Volantis here are the most likely bans, but we'll see what the players decide.
Bans are coming out right here. Let's see what these players did decide as we take our time with this ban.
And there might be a pause here. Might be that Starlink Wi-Fi going down while TRUEWHALE's out in his campsite. But if you look at the draft here, I mean, that Daphnis just provides a lot of volatility. If you look at it from a speed standpoint, that Daphnis is going to have a speed lead on it. TRUEWHALE doesn't have a speed lead, so you know that Daphnis will land if it goes. And if it doesn't land, if the Daphnis gets banned out, you have a Moore into a Masha. So either way, you're facing a lot of aggression off the bat. So if I'm QDizzle, Volantis could be a ban, but Volantis only revenge procs with a 50% chance. So maybe Ragdoll's the ban that makes a lot more sense, because you know for sure if your units go off, that that your opponent's going to take a turn. So it's either going to be Ragdoll or Volantis, and I think Ragdoll's going to be a slightly better ban, and it depends on what he perceives TRUEWHALE's going to ban on his side.
Yeah, most definitely. I do like that Ragdoll a lot now, because I don't think the Moore is going to be getting a ban here. That Moore is definitely going to be staying in there. A lot of attack bar is going to go on the side of TRUEWHALE. So I think the biggest thing is, like, if that Daphnis does go through, I don't know if TRUEWHALE's going to have this one if the Daphnis goes through.
Yeah, there's also a thought to be thinking to think about if the Daphnis does take a unit out, the Nana's going to get another orb, but that Daphnis skills are going to be on cooldown. So you do have to think several layers down to think if the Daphnis does go off, are you able to come back, you know, and fight 3v4? And you do have a Shizuka that's going to be there. So really the bans could be Daphnis. It could be more, but likely not the more. And then if you're QDizzle, I really think the Ragdoll is likely the right ban here because Ragdoll is going to prevent your more from going off. You know that your more is going to be allowed through given that how this is drafted. So I'm going to revise my answer from thinking that Volantis is the ban and shifting it to Ragdoll. I think Ragdoll is the better ban. Don't know if he can recognize that, but I think Ragdoll's the better ban, and I think Daphnis presents the most volatility in the matchup. But this would be based on his read of how far, you know, down into like the 10th and 15th turns, if he's going to be able to win over time.
Yeah, very interesting though. We've got this third match here. This is technically anyone's game. I think QDizzle has a great ability to take this round 3, and I think TRUEWHALE once again maybe he could have gone a little bit more aggressive with his draft style here.
Yeah, I really would have liked to see TRUEWHALE at some point fight for some sort of speed here. I know a lot of players don't take Chew. I love Chew. I take it all the time here, and it counters all kinds of units like Moore, because Moore is very unreliable, and it counters Heigangs actually because you knock units back more than they get attack bar. So I really would prefer him to fight for speed for some matches. Bring in a Narsha to mix it up rather than relying on a turn 2 Shizuka off the bat. You know, to have something to kind of sit on turn 2 allows your opponent to proc a couple times and it puts you at risk of RNG. And as a top tier player, legend tournament, you know, that type of ranking, you want to be a little bit more dominant and come out with, force your opponent to resist, right? If you force your opponent to have to resist, you know, a Narsha defense break, 15%, you should be okay with an 85% win rate. So I would prefer a little bit more aggression from TRUEWHALE, or even, you know, if you're going to think turn 2, I would love to see the Pontos, because that invincibility, cleanse, invincibility, speed lead, there's just so much versatility.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that we didn't see the Tian Lang coming back there. As quick as QDizzle had drafted the Oliver, I was almost expecting to see that Tian Lang come out again.
Yeah, actually, Tian Lang is quite a good unit into Moore and Oliver as well. The one weakness that Tian Lang does have is that unless you can protect it well, it can get defense broken from the Nana that's already there. Oliver is not exactly terribly weak into Tian Lang because Oliver is just such a good unit. I mean, we saw yesterday it taking 3-4 procs in a row. When I fight it on the ladder, it tends to take 7 or 8 procs in a row. You know, like these Olivers just keep going and going. So, you know, it could just be that he didn't want to bring a Tian Lang into the possibility of it getting nuked off the bat. And that's why he's bringing in, you know, Ragdolls and Volantises in order to be able to just disrupt some sort of opening.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. When he drafted the Tian Lang, we had the Daphnis getting banned out there. So it does make sense that he didn't take the Tian Lang this time, knowing he didn't pre-ban the Daphnis.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. And I think we might be actually be looking at the bracket at some point soon here. It looks like Starlink's net might be going down, might need some patching up to do here. So we're going to look at the bracket here, you know, and just pick out some matches that we're looking at later in the day here. But obviously we see TRUEWHALE and QDizzle neck and neck, probably not what most people expected. Most people probably expecting a 2-0. And instead we really have a toss-up in this last one. It's going to come down to procs. But what do you think of that RAIGEKI Hope matchup coming up, Stoic?
RAIGEKI's been doing so well. I'm definitely expecting RAIGEKI to take Hope here, but it might be like a 2-1 kind of match here if you know, Hope can really play well against RAIGEKI. But I am expecting RAIGEKI to be moving forward today.
Yeah, I think most of us, at least I am as well. Like, I don't know much about Hope. Most people don't know much about him. There aren't many LDs in his box, if any, I think. But you know, RAIGEKI definitely. We've seen him on Twitch a lot. Very good player that knows how to use everything he has. But you know what I'm hearing? I think we're ready to come in and see what happens in this TRUEWHALE versus QDizzle matchup.
I am definitely excited to see what's going to happen here in this TRUEWHALE QDizzle matchup. We'll see. I mean, I had 2-0 as well for TRUEWHALE taking this one. And I hate to count people out because this is already one of those tournaments where we can't count people out. And it looks like we already have our draft lock in. It's the exact same units that we had seen before. And we're going to just take it off from here. Bans are locked in, by the way. We have Nana and Volantis getting banned.
Interesting. Okay, the Nana ban makes sense here because TRUEWHALE's counting on the fact that he does not want to give an orb and is okay losing a unit and should be able to take over after he loses a unit. So we'll see how TRUEWHALE does 3 versus 4 once he loses his first unit.
All right, well, let's see if that's going to be happening here. We've got QDizzle taking turn 1 with Strips not coming through on top of the Ragdoll, and that means Dominic's going to be moving up next.
Yeah, QDizzle not banning out that ragdoll, allowing TRUEWHALE to cut him. That's a squishy Daphnis, basically losing all of his HP to a Dominic. So definitely challenger level runes on this Daphnis here.
Wow, we were expecting Daphnis to be taking down a unit here, but we've got the opposite results. We had Dominic almost taking out the Daphnis here, and Ragdoll finishing off Daphnis, and already QDizzle is down a unit.
Yeah, and it could also be that this Dominic here could be truly a Giga Chad Dominic. It does so much damage here. I don't think QDizzle's ready for this type of aggression coming out of TRUEWHALE. And of course, that Ragdoll disrupted turn 1, allowing for the setup to happen. And that's 2-turn immunity on 2 of TRUEWHALE's units right now.
There's that big damage coming through with the Dominic. You'd see QDizzle's definitely scrambling to try to take that unit out as soon as possible. This is the kind of aggressive play that we do like to see from TRUEWHALE.
Yeah, this is a lot of aggression, a lot of damage. It's not a lot of damage that Masha did to that Dominic, so I really think TRUEWHALE's in a good spot here. I think his Dominic is well supported. It's doing a ton of damage here. TRUEWHALE looks like he's in a good spot.
Definitely in a good spot indeed. We'll see what happens with the second scale here. Some strips are coming out, but no despair stuns. We can't confirm if that is a despair more or not.
Yeah, we can't confirm if it's a despair and more or not, but also interesting to note here is that Oliver is likely not going to take another turn. His attack bar is super low here. TRUEWHALE's doing a ton of damage here, and not a proc on that Masha, so that Fire Bison is going to move in front of this Oliver.
Yeah, if he had got that proc, we may have seen a missing Fire Bison here, but no procs coming through. Looking for a Provoke to land on top of that Oliver. No Provokes to be landing. Oh, we get the additional turn. Psycho Crusher coming out to eliminate 2 units from QDizzle's field.
Yeah, eliminates 2 units from QDizzle's field, and this game is over, and TRUEWHALE's able to take it 2-1.
2-1, maybe not the way TRUEWHALE wanted to take it, but TRUEWHALE is going to be moving forward in today's tournament.
Y'all, that was scary. That was super, super scary. Again, one of those things where you kind of wonder, has this ever happened before? One of the biggest upsets we might have ever seen in the America's Cup preliminaries brings me back to last year. Daniel Carioca taking down J-Mac, something of that level, that magnitude that we just didn't expect. And the early win by QDizzle put everyone on notice, but then TRUEWHALE just tightening the screws there and saying, hey guys, I am the highest rated player here in America. Don't worry about it, we got it. We'll take a little bit for dramatic effect. We'll have a pause, no worries. Still the victory. TRUEWHALE moves on through after a bit of a scare there by QDizzle. But that's going to be a scary opponent in the elimination day next week in the form of QDizzle. But TRUEWHALE gets the win and moves on. What a match number 1. And that is just the first one of 6 that we got, because we've got more action coming at you. It's RAIGEKI and Hope. Another one of these matchups where we have a known quantity against a player making his debut. But I gotta say, Hope's got some really, really good poses, guys. But when you take a look at this matchup as a whole, as we take a look at the player card of RAIGEKI, what jumps out at you here, Stoic?
I feel like this is one of those moments we can't count anybody out anymore. So TRUEWHALE honestly barely made it through, even though that last match was a big win. RAIGEKI, I want to put so much favor in RAIGEKI, but I can't count out Hope anymore. We can't count out anybody. Everybody's got a chance right now. Who knows what could happen in this match, but I can't help but sit here and support RAIGEKI and think he's definitely going to be the player moving through. He has the rank, he has the experience, he's been in SWC before, he knows how to prepare for moments like this. You know, he did get some new units that are not showcasing here. We've seen the Volantis with RAIGEKI before, and that's going to be a unit we're going to see a lot of today. Clearly, Nana gameplay has been working in a lot of people's favor. It worked in QDizzle's favor as well. It may work in RAIGEKI's favor, so we definitely have a great match ahead of us, but do not count anybody out.
Thinking about what do you make here of RAIGEKI in terms of his box and in terms of his experience?
I mean, in terms of his box and experience, I think he's a really good player and is able to use everything he has to the maximum potential. His rune depth is actually not very deep. He doesn't have a lot of deep runes. He doesn't have a lot of units. He's missing some core units like the Oliver, the Dominic. He's not going to be able to abuse those units, which are probably the 2 most powerful units on the ladder at the moment. He did recently pull that Volantis, which is going to give him an advantage, but and I don't believe Hope has any LDs to counter that. But RAIGEKI definitely uses everything to the full potential, does not make very many mistakes, and definitely thinks many turns deep. I've watched him on Twitch a lot, hung out in his chat, and you can definitely hear his thought process through his draft, through his plays. He's definitely very calculated with every move he makes. So as long as he's able to carry that level of precision here, I think he's going to do very well today. You can't ever say 2-0 anymore after what we've seen yesterday, what we've seen today. You can't ever say 2-0, but then I would have to say 2-1 because I still think RAIGEKI is just a phenomenal
I like
player.
that point that you made about watching him on Twitch because, funnily enough, as we take a look at the opponent of RAIGEKI, Hope, Hope was in the chat of RAIGEKI streaming earlier. I think it was yesterday. He's in the chat saying, oh, please don't go too hard on me, you know, hopefully we have a great match, all these cool things. So Hope showing at least that he did some research on his opponent, but, you know, again, RAIGEKI, one of those guys. How does Hope find a way on in here, Stoic?
I mean, he's also been most picking a Nana as well, so I feel like Hope has to do what he can to dig into the box of RAIGEKI, forcing RAIGEKI to use other units as well, but I'm sure RAIGEKI will be prepared for moments like that. I see an Oliver and I see a Diana in here in a draft in. I can't help but think that he may rely on a little bit too much RNG looking at a Diana in a draft, but I'm sure RAIGEKI is going to be prepared for something.
Make it a bud. What do you make of this one?
Yeah, and I think Hope, you know, true to his name, is going to need a Hope to get a few procs going. But at the same time, this game, at the end of the day, does come down to procs, right? When you draft, there's a probability you win. There's a probability your opponent win. How the dice rolls is how the dice rolls. Your goal is to maximize your probability of winning based on the opener and based off of the outcomes that come out during the match. So really, it could go anyone's way here. Hope does have units that RAIGEKI does not have. That Oliver is a massive pick that RAIGEKI does not have. The Volantis is a big pick that Hope does not have. So it's going to be an interesting point to see how they dig into each other's boxes, because this is going to be an elemental versus elemental, free-to-play versus free-to-play matchup with a lot of common units that we're going to see, not a lot of LDs.
All right, so it seems like we're leaning towards RAIGEKI, but let's make it official. Stoic, who you got winning this one, then you make it a bud.
That's 2-1 RAIGEKI.
And I got to say the same. 2-1 RAIGEKI, but again, it could really go any way. Procs and resists dictate so much in this match.
All right, well, there you have it. I think our game is ready, so let's get into our second match of the day. Hope, RAIGEKI, only one can move on and face TRUEWHALE for the America's Cup slot. Who will win? Let's find out.
Alrighty then, let's get into this match, guys. RAIGEKI, seasoned veteran, versus Hope. We've got drafts coming out here, but first, pre-bans.
Interesting choice that RAIGEKI has dictated that he wants turn one. I really think he's going to take out the Oliver of Hope to start it off, and I think Masha's going to be a unit that he's going to want to fight over. Masha and Sekhmet are going to be units he's going to want to fight over. I think Sekhmet is likely going to be RAIGEKI's first pick because he typically likes to have the versatility of outspeeding or playing turn two. So Masha's going to be a key unit, but I think Sekhmet is going to be the first pick of RAIGEKI's to open this matchup.
Oliver and Volantis getting pre-banned here. Shizuka going to be the unit RAIGEKI is going to be prioritizing. Hope very quick to taking Nana Praha.
Interesting pick of the Shizuka first. I guess typical on ladder, you see RAIGEKI open up with the Sekhmet first, but Shizuka is also a perfectly fine pick. There is going to be a lot of back and forth here. RAIGEKI does favor that Sekhmet, is going to snag it next, and goes with the Sierra, given the fact that Hope has laid down 2 water units. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Sierra Sekhmet coming out here, getting a speed lead as well. Hope locking in a Dominic and a Wusa.
And I would be surprised not. I think RAIGEKI's going to take a Juno here, given the fact that his Juno does like 2.5 damage per hit. The 2 best Junos in the world are El Mimo's and RAIGEKI's. RAIGEKI's Juno's absolutely monstrous here. Oberon is an interesting pick here. Does a lot of damage, and there's a combination between Oberon and Shizuka that we may have seen in the APAC Cup that's going to do a lot. Takes a Laura instead of a Juno. Interesting pick here.
Yeah, very interesting to see the Laura here. I wonder what kind of value he's going to be getting out of there. So he has that AoE strip in the form of Laura. Hope looking to respond after seeing 2 LDs wrapping up RAIGEKI's draft.
Yeah, and if I was Hope here, I'd be looking to I'd probably taking the Shizuka, or probably not taking the Shizuka off the table. It's pretty viable to take off the Sekhmet or the Oberon. The Oberon presents a lot of volatility here. Hope's flashing a ton of units, running out of time here. Not sure what he's going to pick. Takes a Vertihile, which is an interesting pick, but I think if RAIGEKI's able to keep the Verd under control here, that Verd might not do a lot in this matchup. If the Dominic is gone, there's not really a lot of damage coming out from Hope's side.
Yeah, Shizuka and Dominic getting the bans here. It's interesting to see all those units being flashing. That's just that player experience showing right there. Leader skills locked in. RAIGEKI versus Hope, round 1. Let's get into it.
Yeah, and as noted here, once that Dominic's gone, Hope does not have a lot of DPS, so we're going to see what kind of damage Hope can bring to the table here. Likely is going to need to have Nana defense breaker unit and then have Praha and Vertihal do a lot of damage over time. That's pretty much the only way that Hope can win here.
Yep, there's that big stun sitting on top of the vertical. So like you said, if you can keep that thing under control, it's going to be looking very good for RAIGEKI. Doesn't need to cleanse up that bomb. Bomb's going to sit on top of the verti-heal. We're just going to see a nice little first skill possibly come out from this Praha.
Yeah, and that's a massive proc from that Sierra. They're able to have bomb the next time it goes around, but that's also a huge proc from that Praha. It's going to be able to sleep all these units and give Hope some cycling and a speed buff.
Let's see if he goes with that. Chooses to go with the first skill, cycle a little bit of attack bar into that Volantis, hoping for a 2-turn sleep here with this Wusa.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Hope is hoping for, but does get that 2-turn sleep onto that Oberon, so massive sleep coming up on that Wusa.
Feel like that's that caster curse coming in there. I'm sorry, RAIGEKI. Stun going out onto the Ciara as well.
Wow, and you see a stun coming out from the Nana onto that Sierra, so massively unlucky for RAIGEKI. That Vertihal does have a 1-turn bomb on it, but again, I'm really surprised Hope did not choose to use skill 3 on that Praha earlier, but again, I guess if your Wusa's skill 1s work every time, then you don't need to use that skill.
Well, Wusa is going to be looking for another first skill into the Oberon, not getting any value there. AoE coming in here for double Despair Stun going out in a segment Oberon.
Wow, double Despair Stun and lands a ton of defense breaks, so Hope is definitely getting a lot of good RNG here, but RAIGEKI still has another bomb. That proc from Sierra earlier is now going to allow him to stun 2 units. This bomb is either going to go into Praha or Wusa. Goes on Praha here. He should be thinking about detonating. He does not, because he does not want to have Vertihal die and have it start moving along and doing a lot of damage.
Oof, no additional turn happening there with that Laura, but you can see Wusa's going to be there to get his additional turn, get those shields up, and his units may survive the bombs.
Wow, what a massive proc from Hope. Hope doing a lot of hoping here and does get that proc. That shield's massive because that Vert is not stunned, and Hope's going to take a lot of turns here. Has 2 orbs on that Nana. That's a lot for RAIGEKI to get through. I don't think he has enough to come back here.
Yeah, big even bigger sleeps happening now with that 2-turn on top of the segment. Definitely not looking good for RAIGEKI at all.
Wow, and this is just so one-sided. You've seen sleeps and stuns from water onto wind. You've seen that Wusa sleep so many units for turn 2. I mean, this just feels like there's just so many things going against RAIGEKI here. It's hard for him to come back.
It really is. 2 orbs sitting on top of that Nana. I'm not too sure what RAIGEKI can do here. Verti-heal just boosting up his team so much with that attack bar gain here. Any stuns coming out for RAIGEKI. Does get 2 stuns. I just don't think it's going to be enough.
Yeah, I don't know what RAIGEKI can do here. This RNG has not gone his way. He's going to need 1,000,000 procs on this Sierra. Remember, that Laura's on Despair, so that Laura can't proc either. But again, Hope does have low attack bars. Interesting that that bomb did not go on that Vert. That Vert's going to enable Hope's team to move here.
It really is. Here comes the shields and immunity. Bomb's not going to be dealing much damage now.
Yeah, not going to be doing much damage now. That Laura did not take another turn, so Laura not able to stun there. Not able to strip, but again, that does get a proc, but that proc doesn't really do a ton. Misses the bomb. Really unlucky for RAIGEKI here.
Yeah, RAIGEKI cannot catch a break, and he's going to concede there. Hope taking round 1 away from RAIGEKI.
Wow, and Hope, true to his name, is able to hope in a lot of violent procs, a lot of sleeps with low probabilities from, and Despair stun from Nana onto Sierra. Just so much RNG, so many things going his way there. Really unfortunate for RAIGEKI, and hopefully he's able to just kind of hold his composure and able to just start with a clean slate in the next match.
And that's what's really important here. You can't let the tilt get to you. You just got to move on and play your next match there. I can't help but feel a little guilty, I will be honest.
Yeah, it's always hard to feel good when so much RNG comes out this way. But again, I mean, I really did like RAIGEKI's draft there. There's a lot of ways for him to win, but unfortunately, you just caught sleep after stun after stun after proc. So it's a lot for him to get through, and ultimately, it's really tough to get through that. So we'll see if he comes in with a similar play style. I think that's going to be the case here, but probably taking this full minute here to think about it.
Well, pre-bans coming out here. Dominic and Oberon getting pre-ban. No more Shizuka-Oberon combination coming out.
No more Shizuka-Oberon combination, but I'm not sure if Oberon's the right pre-ban here. I really think Hope should be thinking about taking, he's going to take the segment early. It's either the Masha or the segment. He knows he can take Oliver later. RAIGEKI's going to have to take that Masha there because he can't let that go into Hope's hands. That's too much damage from the face. I think RAIGEKI's going to lean into Juno later in this matchup because Juno's really good in the segment. And Shizuka.
Yeah, this might play into RAIGEKI's favor here. He's able to get a second round pick here and getting that Nana and Masha. Where Hope had first pick. Volantis, Juno. Guys are very quick to drafting now. Miles and Oliver wrapping up Hope's draft.
Yeah, so RAIGEKI's most likely going to be taking up that Miles. His team is very good. That Masha, Volantis, Juno core is very good in Hope's remaining 4 units if that Miles is removed from the field. So I think RAIGEKI's going to need to take something that's going to allow him a little bit more resilience. So Praha's great. I still think Miles is the ban, but now they've taken Praha last, it generally signals an Oliver ban actually. So we could see an Oliver takeout. But prior to this last pick, I would have thought the Miles takeout was fine. So I'm thinking the Praha signals an Oliver ban here. And if I'm Hope, I'm looking at this, the Nana's a fair ban, takes out the Moore. That's a very interesting ban from RAIGEKI here.
Very interesting indeed. We're going to find out if those bans are correct as we get into this round 2 match between Hope and RAIGEKI.
Yeah, so RAIGEKI basically takes out the Moore because he doesn't want to let that Oliver tee off on his team here. But again, this Miles, if it strips, is going to allow that Oliver to go off anyways, but does not get the strip onto the Praha.
Does not get that strip. You can see a little bit of a revenge come towards that Oliver here. No stuns, though, coming out.
Yeah, no stuns going out here. But again, that miss of that strip was massive because that Oliver's not able to reset that Praha. Praha is going to allow RAIGEKI to cycle turn over turn over turn and allow him to do a lot of damage. RAIGEKI has really powerful artifacts, so his Oracles are going to do a lot of damage this match.
Now all the immunity is off except on that segment. Let's see if he goes for the sleep instead of the first skill to cycle a little bit of attack bar. Goes for the strip instead.
Yeah, and RAIGEKI getting a massive proc there, and does use skill 3 on his Praha, so he has a 2-turn speed buff. Is going to be able to pump in a lot of damage here. This looks like this Oliver is going to go down really soon. Does not get the attack defense break though, which is huge.
That was a nice little dish return, pumping in that damage on top of the Oliver. No defense break indeed at all. I mean, we've got Volantis who could be finishing off this Oliver.
Yeah, that Oliver does have 2 dots on it. Looks like it's going to go down. Segment does have skill 2 to give some sort of glancing. That glancing is a big deal on this Volantis here. But again, RAIGEKI pretty much has this Juno that's going to be able to do tons of damage here. Look at that, 2,000 damage per hit.
Yeah, so much damage coming out of that first skill of these Oracles. We've got Miles trying to do something about it to slow RAIGEKI down. No attack bar is going to get reduced on top of that Praha. The damage just flowing in on top of that segment. No stuns coming through here. We're going to see a lot of value, though, out of this third skill.
Yeah, we see a lot of this, but there's a lot of dots coming on the field. Shizuka basically allowing Juno to do a lot of damage, but unfortunately only strips 1 unit, so not enough dots. But look at that, the number of dots on that Miles. That's so much damage that's going to be going on it over time.
Definitely a lot of dots sitting on top of the Miles. Indeed, you can see how much damage he took right there, but he wishes he had the full value of the strips. It just didn't work out in RAIGEKI's favor again.
Yeah, it didn't work out in his favor here, but that segment looks like it's going down soon. That Soul Protect going on that segment might protect it for a little bit, but I think RAIGEKI's just going to auto that segment down. Could also go for a burst on the Miles. Either is okay here. Hope's looking like he's in a tough spot.
Definitely indeed. First skill damage going out on the Praha. Praha took that very well. Juno with a beautiful spare stun here. Miles, big damage on top of the Praha. Praha looking to get removed from the field soon.
Yeah, Praha might get removed from the field soon, but again, that Shizuka does not have skills up. It's a lot of damage coming off that Juno. That Praha also does a fair bit of damage, and Volantis has its skills up.
Yeah, Volantis getting good value there on top of the Miles, getting that nice little stun. Additional turn popping out. RAIGEKI taking down Hope in round 2.
Yeah, what a matchup there. Dominance shown by RAIGEKI. Those additional damage artifacts on his Juno and Praha are just absolutely incredible. It's just so much damage coming from him. That strip from that Praha was absolutely huge. I'm not exactly sure about that Nana ban coming out from Hope. That Nana ban didn't really do very much in that situation there, and RAIGEKI was just able to pummel in so much damage. I think he really should have thought about taking out a piece of damage because Nana on its own doesn't do a ton. And once you have so much damage coming out, so much threat from a Volantis, from a Juno, you really need to address those threats through the ban if possible.
Yeah, the Nana definitely could have shined for sure if RAIGEKI had a little bit of burst. I know Masha, probably the only form of burst that he had on his field, but he wasn't able to capitalize it if he did get the Nana through, so maybe the Nana was a really poor ban for Hope.
I definitely think the ban could have been better placed there, but either way, I mean, RAIGEKI had a much better draft leading into it. I mean, he had such a strong core. Hope did not have enough damage to really get through much, and RAIGEKI had so many ways to win there. So we see an Oliver ban, we see a Volantis ban. RAIGEKI's probably going to open up the same way he did in Game 1 and try to have the same style of match because he really did get unlucky in that first match there.
Yeah, these two very quick to drafting here. They knew exactly what they want. RAIGEKI choosing to slow it down. Shizuka is his first pick, responded by Nana and Praha.
So RAIGEKI likely going to go for the same thing. Interestingly enough, I would normally say a Changpeng's very good there, but RAIGEKI has fed his only Changpeng available a long time ago. So unfortunately, he does not have a Changpeng in his box either.
Ooh, Changpeng definitely would have been nice for the tournament, but it is what it is. RAIGEKI locking in Oberon and Diana this time.
Interesting pick of the Diana. I really do like it into the setup of Hope. He is preemptively, does need to ban out that Dominic though. Dominic bringing in a lot of damage. So Hope should really think about something that brings in a lot of damage itself. I would like to see a Masha here. Masha is going to do a lot of damage. He's probably thinking Verd as well. Probably thinking Masha or Juno. Some sort of fire unit that does damage over time. His 5th pick has to be damage here. Goes with the Mo Long, which is kind of an interesting pick here. And I'm not sure about that. I think something that's does a little bit more damage over time would have been better.
So the Mo Long first pick for me definitely says that Hope has high hopes in taking turn 1 and removing that Diana as soon as possible.
Hope is going to need a Hope for a lot of procs here, but we're going to see RAIGEKI open with that segment, and you see the attack lead on that Oberon. That Oberon's going to do a lot of damage. So as long as it can survive turn 1, that Oberon's going to take something out.
All right, let's see how things work out for RAIGEKI and Hope in this round 3 match between the two of them. Reset does land on top of that Praha. Mo Long with the Reckless Assault available.
Yeah, and unfortunately, and interestingly enough, that Oberon is not the target. So Hope might be thinking that he could down his Oberon in one hit here, and is going to do so, going to attempt to do so with that Dominic.
Well, Dominic's looking to pummel in some big damage here. He can't get any branding effects, he's only skill 1, and he chooses to go after that CR because he doesn't want to see these bombs coming out here, but he's going to see a bomb anyways, landing on top of the Mo Long.
Yeah, very interesting that Hope is content to let this Oberon go off, but not enough damage onto that Dominic. But unfortunately, Segment's able to finish off that Dominic, so RAIGEKI's able to take this 3 units to 2 at the moment.
Yeah, definitely looking really good for RAIGEKI. He does have the immunity on the side of Hope to help prevent these bombs here. But I mean, we've got a, not a Volantis, I'm sorry. We have a Oberon still left on the field.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why Hope didn't take that Oberon off out the bat. That was so much damage going in onto that Dominic. That Dominic would do so much work over time with a shield there and into Sierra. So I'm not sure why he didn't choose to take out that Oberon. And so that Oberon made a big swing in this event here. So RAIGEKI's Sierra also being very tanky is going to allow him to just bruise and do damage over time. Probably take this one home.
Yeah, RAIGEKI really trying to pummel away the damage here on top of that Praha. Praha's able to sustain the team. No 2-turn sleeps coming out anymore for Hope. You can see those first skills going into Ciara. Additional turn, popping out your Ciara is still alive. Does he choose to throw up the shields, or is he going to try and take out that Ciara?
I think he needs to take out the Ciara here, and he does go for it, but unfortunately not able to take out that Ciara. Just not enough damage on that Wusa here. That Praha's going to eat a bomb, and it might go down here.
Ooh, does eat that bomb. Goes to Curse Beautiful, drops the Praha. RAIGEKI looking to get this victory here.
RAIGEKI looking very strong here. LD abusing his way to victory and is able to down that Wusa with the Oberon.
And there you have it, RAIGEKI taking round 3 away from Hope.
There, make it a bud. Had to use the LD, but what we're learning today is any way possible to win, because the two upstarts here gave great efforts to the known quantities in the form of TRUEWHALE, and now the one moving on in RAIGEKI. Congratulations to him, and we've got ourselves a hell of a semifinals match with the America's Cup ticket on the line. TRUEWHALE and RAIGEKI, after being pushed by the newcomers, the debutantes to the America's Cup, Q-Dizzle and Hope, they move on. We got a big one right after that. And all that's left, just bangers. It's just bangers. We got 4 matches left in the day. And all of these guys have had some sort of high-level success. I cannot wait to get into them. Oh, man, what a series that last one was, and what a series awaits us in our next one. Y'all, DRMZJOSEPH and MADREAMDY. So I got to ask you guys, how do you feel about this one, with both of them having high levels of success, well known not only in the Americas region, but across the world? Stoic, what do you make of this?
This is a really tough match to judge here. I think DRMZJOSEPH is an excellent player. He's got the experience. He's been an America's Cup champion as well, but you can't count MADREAMDY out of him. MADREAMDY's a very fast player, but let's see what DRMZJOSEPH is going to be going for. And when I see an Escher like that. I see someone who probably knows he's not as fast as he wants to be, but taking an Escher to help him in those moments of need.
Yeah, DRMZJOSEPH always creative with his drafts, and he's going to need to be against last year's representative coming out of the Americas region in the form of MADREAMDY. Let's take a look at him. MADREAMDY, again, runner-up in our Americas Cup, and then made it to the quarterfinals at the World Finals for the Americas region. Haircut, new look, new drip. What do you make of it here, Make It a Bud?
Tough to comment on the fashion, given the fact that I'm not a fashion expert myself, but I can comment on the
being
LD
humble.
box there, and I can tell you that Yeonhong Pontos, some amazing units there. He does use the Dark Onimusha a lot, which I've seen out of the Korean players a lot. I'm personally not a fan of it, but when it is supported by Pontos and has that type of box, very good set of units. I think in this matchup here, I do favor DRMZJOSEPH a little bit just because he's a former America's Cup champion. He doesn't have the LDs, but he does have very powerful units. This meta favors aggression, and DRMZJOSEPH tends to just draft aggressive units all the time. He does have fast units. He has a Swift Sagar that is incredibly fast. And whenever I fought MADREAMDY on the ladder, he can be very scary with his units, but sometimes it's a little inconsistent. So if we see the best version of MADREAMDY, I think he's gonna win this. But if we see a version of MADREAMDY that may not be the absolute best, it may be a challenge here. So it's gonna be dependent on which version of him we see here. And we know DRMZJOSEPH is always gonna be consistent, always going to bring in the right mix of damage and survivability.
All right, DRMZJOSEPH here for Make It a Bud. Stoic, are you guys the same, or is this the first time you're going to go ahead and disagree? Because you were here last year for MADREAMDY's run.
That's right, and I'm actually going to be going with MADREAMDY in this match. I think MADREAMDY is going to be the one to take down DRMZJOSEPH. Now, I like DRMZJOSEPH. I think DRMZJOSEPH does have a big shot at winning, of course. He is a tough opponent, but I think MADREAMDY is going to be taking this one here. He showed, he had a really, really good showing last year, and I think he's going to have a really good showing this year as well.
All right, split for the first time, our big heads in the wall. Let's find out who's right and who will be moving on. Is it MADREAMDY or DRMZJOSEPH? Let's get into it. The big match. Match number 3.
Here we go, guys. DRMZJOSEPH and MADREAMDY. Let's find out who's got the bigger dreams.
So I think DRMZJOSEPH is going to want to pre-ban the Yeonhong of MADREAMDY and probably cycle Yeonhong and Pontos. Likely going to be the pre-bans coming out from DRMZJOSEPH. If I'm MADREAMDY, I do not want to fight a lot of aggression, so I'm probably going to take out a Masha, maybe a Dominic, or some sort of Sagar if he's afraid of a Swift Sagar, which is going to present a lot of draft presence and make it very difficult to draft here. So I think that's the kind of the pre-bans we're looking at, and I think it's going to be a speed battle mixed with some sort of aggression. Definitely no turn 2 play from these guys.
Ooh, very interesting pre-ban here. Masha and the Dark Onimusha getting pre-banned out.
Okay, so if we see the Dark Onimusha pre-banned out, DRMZJOSEPH is definitely going to go in with some sort of aggression. We could see a Nana first pick still, as we've seen, but aggression as always. Going with the Dominic, and I think we're going to see some sort of Sagar, some sort of Olivers later in the match here to bring aggression. But DRMZJOSEPH going with a passive Juno and a Nana off the bat.
A very passive Juno, and as a first pick as well, which is super surprising. Moore and Connell are going to be coming out for DRMZJOSEPH.
Yeah, I mean, DRMZJOSEPH going with a very aggressive comp here. I know that Moore hits very hard. I've fought it many times, and that thing hurts. And the Cardinal, very tanky, does a lot of damage. Aggression all the way. Cardinal may not be the best into a Juno, but definitely good into whatever supports a Juno. So DRMZJOSEPH drafting aggressive as expected. I think I'm going to expect more damage coming out DRMZJOSEPH later, but DRMD should be looking into a Pontos here, and Oliver at some point makes sense. So dropping the Oliver, dropping the Shizuka here makes sense from MADREAMDY.
Well, he's got that Nana on MADREAMDY's side of the field. I just don't know if he has enough aggression to gain those kind of orbs. We'll find out if that will be the downfall to MADREAMDY's draft, but we can only find out as we get into it. But Sekhmet being drafted by DRMZJOSEPH and one more pick.
Yeah, and if DRMZJOSEPH goes light on damage here, I would expect him to take out that Nana because he might not have enough damage to win over time. I do like that Changpong pick a lot, so he has the ability to basically lock down anything turn 1, get whatever opener he wants with the Changpong, with the Sekhmet, Dominic, Cardinal, Moore is, I mean, Moore would be a great ban from MADREAMDY, but at the same time, there's a segment of Changpong you're facing down. So quite a stern lockdown coming out from DRMZJOSEPH. We do see that Pontos protection coming out, but if I'm DRMZJOSEPH, I'm probably banning out that Pontos here because it presents a lot of volatility. If it procs and protects his units, DRMZJOSEPH is dead in the water. So I think Pontos is now the ban. You could argue for Nana, but if he does ban the Nana, he's going to need to land on this Pontos.
All right, let's see those bans coming out here as we dwindle down this timer here. Bans are going to be the Moore and Oliver getting banned out.
Yeah, so it makes sense on the Moore here. Wants to disrupt that opening. And Oliver, an oppressive unit here. Interesting to see if not banning out that Pontos is going to bite him later.
Let's see what happens. We get into this match between DRMZJOSEPH and MADREAMDY. Sekhmet kicking us off here with a third skill.
And Sekhmet landing all the time, doing what my Sekhmet does not do. So DRMZJOSEPH bringing in the correct unit, able to reset that Pontos. So it's going to be a while before that Pontos is effective. And there's a lot of aggression coming out from DRMZJOSEPH.
See, MADREAMDY throws up the immunity here with that third skill. He does choose to do that, protect himself from the serious matter that could have came out from Changpong, of course. We're going to see Dominic. Let's see what kind of big numbers we can see from this unit.
Yeah, and DRMZJOSEPH does not know how to tune his box. You see that Cardinal moving in front of the Changpong here, so kind of an interesting choice here not to tune those units. And the Changpong does get stunned and is made of paper. It's going down really soon here. He's going to lose a unit really quickly.
Definitely. He's trying to, MADREAMDY trying to lower the cooldowns of his Pontos to make sure he has that protection up, pummeling the damage on top of this Changpong. I see Changpong not lasting much longer.
Yeah, Changpong's not lasting much longer. It does have a dot on it. DRMZJOSEPH is going to need a proc a million times. Nana does have an orb. Does not get another orb because that dot killed it. So kind of fortunate for MADREAMDY here. But I think I like MADREAMDY's position. DRMZJOSEPH does need a proc several times to come back.
Yeah, nice stun sitting on top of that Masha, but he is going to get a heal coming out of that Juno as well. So good value on the side of MADREAMDY right here. Dominic looking to pummel in that damage before that res. There's the cleanse popping up from the Juno. Not able to confirm the kill.
Yeah, quite a big heal here, but we do have invincibility coming up from Pontos soon. Once that invincibility goes off, that's going to be a lot of protection for MADREAMDY. Besides, MADREAMDY's looking absolutely amazing in this match.
He really is, and keep in mind Shizuka's going to get that invincibility up even more, so the draft on the side of MADREAMDY looking very powerful.
Yeah, very powerful draft indeed from MADREAMDY's side. I mean, MADREAMDY pretty much can have his way here. There's another one-turn, two-turn invincibility across this field here, so DRMZJOSEPH, even if he procced, could not do anything.
Yeah, nice little despair stun, of course, going out onto that segment as well, keeping that unit back, being the only unit that can strip for DRMZJOSEPH. He's definitely going to pump all of his damage into segment, trying to remove that unit. Dominic trying to remove that Juno. Doesn't happen here, but Kano's going to be there to do the job. Last orb is going to drop here now that Juno's back.
Yeah, and that's a lot of stuns going up on DRMZJOSEPH's side here. So even if he did proc, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. There's two-turn, one-turn invincibilities again on MADREAMDY's side. MADREAMDY just looking so good in this match.
Oh, look at all that damage. Juno onto the Dominic. Dominic looks like he's going to be the unit to be taken down here, but he's trying to take advantage of that defense break sitting on top of the Cardinal. Damage continues to pump into that Dominic. Dominic looking to drop out.
Dominic definitely looking to drop out. It's pretty much dead at any moment here. Does heal, but that heal's not as strong as it used to be. And there's an orb on MADREAMDY's side, so MADREAMDY's sitting pretty here, looking very good.
Yeah, most definitely. There is the Pontos getting revived back with that last orb here. But check out this first skill from Juno. Drops that Dominic. Looking very good for MADREAMDY as he protects his units with that invincibility and immunity.
Yeah, and DRMZJOSEPH, the seasoned veteran, taking his sweet time here to exit the game here. Just waiting for his Cardinal to die here while he thinks about what he should be drafting in the next match.
And there you have it. Round one. MADREAMDY taking victory over DRMZJOSEPH.
Interesting way that match panned out there. I mean, when DRMZJOSEPH drafts like that, I would expect to see from a tuning standpoint that Changpong moves in from the Cardinal, but as you saw that they were quite out of tune, so I'm not sure if the draft is going to work the way you would expect it to given the tuning of his team. So kind of interesting to see that, but again, MADREAMDY, that Pontos, just doing so much. Once that invincibility went off, there's nothing DRMZJOSEPH could do.
That's right. Being teamed up with that the Shizuka as well. Shizuka able to bring back all those buffs that the Pontos provides to the field. Just covers the ground so much. MADREAMDY focusing out the units that were able to strip there. Sekhmet not getting the kind of value that DRMZJOSEPH was hoping for. I really did like the Dominic. Just Dominic was not enough to help remove units from the field.
Yeah, I mean, that was a true Giga Chad, Dominic. I mean, you saw that drop that Pontos in one shot. I can't help but wonder if DRMZJOSEPH chose to pre-ban the Pontos instead of the Dark Onimusha if he would have had a better chance. I was expecting those to be his alternating pre-bans in this matchup here because that Pontos disrupts so much of his team given that he likes to play aggression. If you're expecting your Changpeng to be able to win there and do a lot of damage and counter the Pontos, your Changpeng needs to move a lot faster. That Changpeng is not tuned either, so I'm not sure if DRMZJOSEPH team is going to be able to take out whatever MADREAMDY has to bring today.
Well, here comes those very interesting pre-bans out here. We've got Oliver pre-ban, and we've got Dominic getting pre-ban, and MADREAMDY taking once again the Nana.
Yeah, I mean, that Dominic pre-ban is always good to take out. I mean, that did so much damage. Taking that Nana, so MADREAMDY likely going to be dipping into a Pontos Juno, Dark Onimusha later, that type of play here. We see DRMZJOSEPH going for aggression, taking a Carnal into a Nana, and knowing that your opponent has a Dark Onimusha is kind of an interesting play.
Well, more and Carnal out here for DRMZJOSEPH. He's hovering over a segment, looking to lock that in. MADREAMDY with the Juno and, of course, that Dark Onimusha.
I do not really like this segment pick here because Josephine's pretty good into his into a segment, and Dark Onimusha is pretty good into whatever already exists. DRMZJOSEPH is. It's okay to take the segment if you think a Pontos is coming out later, but you definitely need a little something to help you take aggression early, and that's exactly what he goes for. He goes for the untuned Changpeng.
It's so interesting. DRMZJOSEPH, with all the experience that he has as a seasoned veteran in America's Cup here, like fumbling through his units, trying to figure out what he wants here, going with a Changpeng in the end. But it's so strange to see someone like him not really, very unsure with what he wants to draft.
And I think MADREAMDY is teeing this up for a ban on the Moor and bringing in the Heigang, which is going to counter the Changpeng. It's good. I think either the Moor or the Changpeng are going to be banned. That's what he's teeing this up for. DRMZJOSEPH, I really like this Abuelio pick. It counters everything MADREAMDY has on the table except for that Dark Onimusha, which does so much burst damage. Not sure why he's pulling that back. I think the Abuelio would be a solid pick here. So we'll see if he decides to lock that in.
Yeah, I do like the Heigang and the Masha coming out of MADREAMDY. Definitely has a little bit of firepower. Three forms of defense breaks in place on DRMZJOSEPH's side of the field where he cannot cleanse that. And I couldn't agree more with you that Abelia is probably going to be the best thing to keep DRMZJOSEPH alive here.
Yeah, so as we thought here, either Moor or the Changpeng. Moor is out, but we have a Heigang basically hard countering this Changpeng. So MADREAMDY is going to do a lot of damage with this Dark Onimusha when it has a chance, and also has a Masha to pick off a unit along the way.
Well, HB leads for both of them. We're going to have a long one ahead of us. Sekhmet looking to get her value like she usually does. Is a skill 3 going to land this time? And it still lands true.
Wow, so Heigang's passive working against him here. Dark Onimusha basically now untuned with the team, all kinds of immunity up on DRMZJOSEPH. So DRMZJOSEPH counterattack is going to be very effective into MADREAMDY.
Yeah, double despair stun coming out from that Heigang as well. Masha looking to get some value with that big second skill. Lands the defense break, a very tanky Masha.
And we're going to see this untuned Changpeng do some magic here. It's probably on Despair, which is why it's untuned. Let's see how much damage it does.
Not as much damage as we thought. We can't confirm the Despair stun just yet. And we can see MADREAMDY trying to pummel that damage on top of Connell.
Yeah, and this Dark Onimusha is taking a lot of damage. Might be dropping soon. Definitely drops there, made of paper.
Yeah, that's it for Dark Onimusha. That is gone and dusted here. We've got Oracles here. The Juno looking to cycle a little bit of attack bar, going after the Changpeng.
Yeah, MADREAMDY's kind of a weird spot. We do have that passive from Abuelio. It's going to do a lot. Going to be able to protect his team. And MADREAMDY should go for the snipe on the Changpeng. Should go for the snipe on the Changpeng here. Does go for it and does down the Changpeng.
Goes for that big snipe there, removing Changpeng from the field. There's a heal available for DRMZJOSEPH. I think he has to take advantage of this. Possibly get some provokes out here on MADREAMDY's team there. And it does land on top of the Heigang.
Yeah, so now we have a stalemate between downing this Masha and this Abuelio that's going to heal his team. DRMZJOSEPH needs to take out this Masha, recognizes that, and is going for some auto attack damage here. But DRMD is going to want to take out that Carnal, but has an Abuelio to deal with, which is going to do a lot of healing and also does a lot of damage.
Yeah, definitely a lot of damage indeed. We're going to see a reset coming out here, making sure that defense break isn't going to come out from that Masha. We're going to see MADREAMDY really struggling to take out that Carnal as soon as possible. Does he get any Despair Stuns? No Despair Stuns coming through, but Glancing does land.
Yeah, no Despair Stuns coming out there. I think MADREAMDY should have been a little bit more careful not tripping off the Abuelio, but decides to go for it, and that's okay. But that's a huge proc coming out from that Abuelio.
Now, big proc right there. He's able to get the dismount on top of the Masha. Things are looking a little bit better for DRMZJOSEPH with that Abuelio. If he can keep his Carnal alive a little longer, potentially moving that Masha from the field, it's not over for DRMZJOSEPH.
Dreams Joseph is going to do a lot of damage here. Does not take the Masha off the table. Not sure why it didn't go under the Juno, do a lot of damage here. So MADREAMDY is up to 3 units to 2 here, and that's a lot of damage that's going to come out over time from this Juno.
Yeah, definitely a lot of damage over time indeed. That additional damage coming out of Juno looking really, really good for MADREAMDY. Big heals coming out here. Can't help but poke that Abelio because of the provoke. And there is DRMZJOSEPH trying to remove that Masha from the field.
Yeah, DRMZJOSEPH trying to remove that Masha. Masha gets a giant proc here and does so much damage to this segment.
Ooh, big proc there. Bailey was able to take out the rest of that Masha. And we've got Hagang trying to kill. And never mind, Juno's going to be doing the job there, and it's just a lonely Abelio with the sustain to try and take out 2 units from MADREAMDY.
Yeah, MADREAMDY does have a lot of damage. Does have a lot of damage coming from that Juno. It's a very well-ruined Juno, but again, this is an Abelio that has a massive heal from it. Any proc is going to put him right back into the game.
That's right, and there's that proc right there, able to heal up the team. Not heal up the team, going for a wild blow to try and remove the Juno. Juno looking for despair stuns, not going to be happening here. Does go for the provokes. If the provoke lands on the Juno, then they work MADREAMDY's favor. No provokes landed.
Wow, and MADREAMDY not getting any stuns from that Hagang onto the Abelio. DRMZJOSEPH with a very smart skill 2 earlier, picking back his HP so the pass can be tripped off again, and then getting the heal that way, being more turn efficient, is going to allow DRMZJOSEPH to take this game.
I don't know how MADREAMDY can win this. I'm not even sure all the Despair Stuns alive are going to be enough here, but that's exactly what he's trying to do. All the attack bar pushback with first skills is all MADREAMDY can do right now.
Yeah, there's nothing that MADREAMDY can do because Abelio does have a heal and does automatically get its turn if the HP falls below 70%. So I really like, DRMZJOSEPH is just going to win. There's no way MADREAMDY has the burst to take this turn.
Yeah, definitely not. He's trying to push back that attack bar. He is getting those Despair Stuns. Hagang coming through like a Despair Stun machine, but here's that Violent proc. Wild Blow coming through, finishing off that Hagang. DRMZJOSEPH taking round 2 away from MADREAMDY.
Wow, what a back and forth there. Always going down to the last units here. And I'm surprised that Dark Onimusha was so squishy. We really didn't see any presence from that unit at all. So basically from the get-go, this is a 3 versus 4. I would have liked to see that unit be a little bit tankier. It does need to eventually get a turn to do damage. That's how you do damage in this game. You got to take turns. That unit didn't really do anything there. So unfortunately for MADREAMDY, we weren't able to see him take out DRMZJOSEPH that match. That Abelio just did too much. Healed his team too much. It was very difficult to overcome.
It definitely was. We saw that as that 5th pick, and we had said that the Abelio was going to be really, really good there, and it really was. Abelio was able to carry DRMZJOSEPH to victory in that round. It's going to be very interesting to see what the pre-ban is going to be going into this the next round here. Is DRMZJOSEPH going to pre-ban that Dark Onimusha again, or are we going to see something else?
Yeah, if I was DRMZJOSEPH, knowing that I use Masha, I use a lot of aggression, I have a Dominic, I would not pre-ban that Dark Onimusha at all. It's definitely not the pre-ban in this first matchup, which is why I thought in the opening match that that should not be a pre-ban. I think a Pontos really should still be that pre-ban here. You know, one thing I've noted here is I haven't seen MADREAMDY take his Yunhong at all, and I think a Yunhong would be an interesting thing to throw into this matchup and bring aggression back into DRMZJOSEPH, because that's not a unit that DRMZJOSEPH has. So I would really like MADREAMDY to think through that path and try that option here, but they might just be content to tweak how they've opened their first matches as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with the Yunhong. I think the Yunhong is going to be a great way to change the pace and kind of throw DRMZJOSEPH off. DRMZJOSEPH's already trying to feel out MADREAMDY right now, but if you do something like that, you're going to change whatever pace that DRMZJOSEPH had in mind of a draft and kind of stop that predictability, because Yunhong is capable of a lot of things and, you know, really can create opportunities for your team.
Yeah, the Yunhong would also throw a lot of disruption into the more opening of DRMZJOSEPH and allow MADREAMDY to snipe off a unit, right? Throwing in a Yunhong into a Dominic or into a Masha, bringing in something else, a single target, take out DRMZJOSEPH's team might be more consistent. We do see that Dark Onimusha pre-ban, as we saw in the first one, so DRMZJOSEPH still respecting that unit.
Yeah, definitely. DRMZJOSEPH locking in that Masha. MADREAMDY hovering over the Nana. Nana getting prioritized as the first pick for a lot of people in yesterday's tournament and today's.
Yeah, Nana just bringing so much utility with the revive, stacking orbs, really gaining momentum, and then also AoE defense break, and then also if it's playing against me in the ladder, always stuns all 4 of my units. So just such a strong unit here, and MADREAMDY laying down a really good Juno, and then again we see that same opening from DRMZJOSEPH into the Carnal.
I'm not too sure I like this Juno as a first pick here coming out of MADREAMDY. I feel like it's not something DRMZJOSEPH would be taking away from MADREAMDY. I probably would have went for a Dominic, because I did not want to have DRMZJOSEPH have the Dominic if I was MADREAMDY.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Stoic, that Juno here is already a little bit weak to that Masha, so may not need to be a pick this early. I do like that Changpeng at some point just to take it away from DRMZJOSEPH, but that support from the Shizuka is a little odd. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Sagar coming from DRMZJOSEPH to establish first turn dominance, and maybe some sort of a Juno, or sorry, maybe some sort of a Dominic. We do see that Diana and Verd, interesting picks here, but I do like them. I do like the turn advantage that Verd's going to present. But I'm not quite sure about the Diana into a Juno.
Well, Diana is locked in. Molly getting swapped out instead of the Verti-heal for DRMZJOSEPH. MADREAMDY with one last pick after seeing those two units getting locked in.
I would like to see a Pontos here. The Pontos would pretty much win the game if allowed through, and I think Pontos would be a forced ban here. Of course, you could see Light Monkeys and Tianlangs. Those would be very good units here as well. And Isis would be an excellent pick. So many LDs units you could choose from, but I think Pontos would be a great pick. It would definitely be a forced ban, and something that DRMZJOSEPH would have to respect.
Wow, and Oliver's going to be the last pick here for MADREAMDY.
I don't like that Oliver last pick into an existing Cardinal, into an existing Masha. The point of a last pick is to be banned, because when you finish off your first 5 picks, you've already accepted that you could ban the last pick. So the fact that the Oliver is not banned there means that that was a weak last pick, and I can't help but think if that was a Pontos, that would probably be banned here. Either way, we're going to see if DRMZJOSEPH is going to be able to proc a couple times on that Diana and snipe something out of MADREAMDY's.
We'll see what happens. Speed lead for both players, guys. We are in a round 3 match with MADREAMDY and DRMZJOSEPH with a very fast Juno kicking us off here in this match.
Yeah, I mean, MADREAMDY's Juno's absolutely very well ruined here. That Diana does move in front here. Let's see if he goes for it. Chooses not to, but stuns the Oliver.
Yeah, stun with an additional turn as well. Looking for another stun, not getting it here. Serious Matter is available. Could be going for a second skill.
Could be going for a second skill, but there is that Cardinal, and that Cardinal is very scary. Does get a massive proc though, so very lucky, but does not get the attack bar of the Cardinal.
Yeah, no attack bar drop on the Cardinal there. Shizuka able to get the value there, able to stun up DRMZJOSEPH's team. More additional damage coming through Juno onto Diana. Diana being the unit MADREAMDY wants to remove from this field.
Yeah, and that Soul Protect probably going to be going on that Changpeng to reset cooldowns a little bit here. There's going to be a lot of damage going on to this Diana. That Diana's a little bit squishy here. I would like to see a Diana a little tankier if it's drafted into position here. So MADREAMDY is going to be tunneling this Diana and looking to take it out.
You want to take out this Diana as soon as possible. Now we do have a second skill up here. And again, another violent proc with this Changpeng.
Wow, MADREAMDY procking over and over on this Changpeng here. Might want to change his name to Maproxy with all those procs that are going on. Those procs pretty much winning him the game right here.
Those are some massive procs on that Changpeng. Juno's going to have enough additional damage. Drops that Diana. We've got that first skill coming out of the Connell here, looking to provoke the Oliver. Does land that provoke though.
Does land that provoke. There is still a lot of healing coming out from this Molly that MADREAMDY needs to get through. That Cardinal is very tanky, so that this game is not quite over, but that was such a massive advantage. And another proc from Maproxy on that Changpeng.
This Changpeng doesn't know how to stop here. We got defense break sitting on top of this more, and we have it on top of that Molly as well. We can see the additional damage pumping through on that water unit. Additional turn popping up for the Oliver. Oliver's looking at doing Oliver things here. There's that third skill. Drops the more. There's that second skill. Oh, with an additional turn coming out again.
So many procs on MADREAMDY's team here. It seems like every unit has 3 violence sets on it. I mean, this game is pretty much over if you're able to proc that off, and this Oliver, this Changpeng's going crazy. There's nothing DRMZJOSEPH can do about all of these procs.
No, oh my god, there's nothing you can do. There's Oliver getting the third skill and the second skill, hitting him again, finishing off units of the lonely Molly. There's literally is nothing you can do against that.
There is literally nothing you can do. MADREAMDY can just hit the auto button, let his procs do the work, because that's all it takes to win here.
MADREAMDY slamming it down, taking round 3 victory over DRMZJOSEPH.
And I'm not sure if I hear our wonderful host here, but I will say that the procs coming out from MADREAMDY just dominating that game. And you see that the Diana was kind of a weird pick. It really did not have a presence at all. It did stun that Oliver. Obviously, you can't go for the skill 2 and transform into skill 2 because you're going to get cut there. But just such you know, I wasn't sure if that was the best pick, and obviously not enough survivability being granted from that Molly.
I mean, the units could have almost been anything. When you see what happened in that match, it could have been anything that DRMZJOSEPH lay down onto that field, because Changpeng didn't care, Oliver didn't care. We just saw way too much madness coming out of MADREAMDY.
Way too much madness coming out of MADREAMDY. DRMZJOSEPH might need to change his name to Dreams Hope, something to get a few procs, steal some resist, get something, get some sort of RNG back, because that last match was just so one-sided, just so many procs, 2 back-to-back procs off Changpeng, just so much value. And when you have a reset coming from Shizuka there, you pretty much have all your skills all the time. I mean, I wouldn't really call it unlucky, but DRMZJOSEPH didn't land any glancings on the Cardinal. You saw a lot of skill 2s from the Changpeng into skill 3s, which a lot of people would question and wonder why they're doing skill 3s, why not do skill 3s, but it's to get the glancings from skill 2s. So I think our host is back. I think the mic is working, so let's see what D-Gon has.
Again, we came into it saying whose dream would come true, and it's MADREAMDY prevailing over DRMZJOSEPH with the Dream Game 3. DRMZJOSEPH didn't even have an opportunity to play in that one. That one feels bad. But we've also seen in the past DRMZJOSEPH be the recipient of those types of games. Not the case here. DRMZJOSEPH gonna have to go down into Elimination Day. And if that game was like Alien versus Predator in terms of the Titans that we're playing, this final quarterfinal round that we have is like King Kong and Godzilla. It's Big V versus THOMPSIN, the biggest match of the prelims. When this bracket was released, everybody's eyes go down to these two titans of the Americas region. Big V, the reigning America's Cup champion. THOMPSIN, a champion in his own right for the America's Cup several years ago, was upset last year, knows that happens, but looking to redeem himself. And guys, as we take a look at these two going head to head, this has to be the biggest match of the tournament, Stoic.
It really is. I mean, this is where brackets start to change. There's so many people that want to see THOMPSIN get this victory, but then there's also a lot of people that sit here and say Big V is going to be taking this victory here. It could be either one's match, and this is a match that everyone's been waiting for. Like you said, look at the box that is available for Big V. This right here is a lot for THOMPSIN to worry about as well.
Now on the opposite side here, we've seen THOMPSIN so many times here make it to Bud. What makes this year different for him?
It's hard to say what makes this year different from him. I think THOMPSIN is always a favorite coming in. I mean, he has probably the best runes in the world, maybe second best. Some amazing units here. They both have Giannas, they both have Ragdolls. THOMPSIN also has the Light Monkey, one of my favorite units. Also has a Narsha, also has a bunch of other units I can name off. It's just so many ways he can swing this draft here. You see that Wedgeat pick there, and I've asked him in Guild not to draft that Wedgeat for the sake of my bracket. So we'll see if he decides to pick that unit here. I think THOMPSIN is going to be, in my view, the favorite to win this one. He has better units, he has better runes, but Big V is definitely not underestimated. They're both America's Cup champions. They both have tournament experience. I mean, this one, there's so many hopes for this match. The ceiling is very high. It could go anywhere. There's so many LDs in play. I mean, this is going to be about as high level as it gets.
All right, today. So you heard it there. We've got one guy selecting THOMPSIN. Stoic, who you got?
Man, I gotta give it to THOMPSIN as well. THOMPSIN's pulled some more units leading up to this moment, so I think THOMPSIN has the utility here. I think the biggest enemy for THOMPSIN is THOMPSIN, and THOMPSIN needs to make sure that he doesn't screw it up for himself, but I am also gonna be going with THOMPSIN as well.
All right, our predictions are in. THOMPSIN 2-0, or I guess 2 picks to none against Big V, the reigning America's Cup champion. And remember, these two players, the highest ranking players at the World Finals from the Americas region. Obviously, third place for Big V last year, a huge surprise. And then THOMPSIN being on the doorstep to glory as the runner-up in his run at the World Finals. Highest quality SWC action in the Americas Cup starts right now. THOMPSIN and Big V in the quarterfinals.
A highly anticipated match we have here, Big V versus THOMPSIN. We're going to be getting into this draft very shortly, and of course, it starts with the pre-bans.
And this pre-ban phase could go anyway. This whole draft phase could go anyway. I mean, it could also go standard where we see the Olivers, the Mashas, the Shizukas mixed in with some LDs like Narsha, some Nanas. That's likely going to be the field of units that we're going to deal with here. We see Thompson is at a 2089 ranking, very high, probably top 15 in the world at the moment. I think Big V is going to, this pre-ban is going to come down to which LEs they want to disable. I think Thompson is going to want to find a way to get Oliver. So if Big V has first pick, if I were Thompson, I would be thinking about pre-banning Oliver to take that off the field here. And if I was Big V, knowing that I have first pick here, I'm thinking I may get Oliver, and I want to take out some sort of an LD that'll disrupt that off the bat.
Ooh, Big V banning out the Gurkha, and then we've got Thompson banning out the Volantis.
Oh, of course. I forgot Thompson had the Gurkha. Well, I mean, Gurkha, the highest unit on Seishizo's tier list, once it goes off, basically wins the game on the spot. So, as noted, Oliver probably the first pick here. Thompson going for a very quick Masha into a Nana here. So I do like the Masha a lot. Nana tells me Thompson's content to go a little bit more turn 2-like, knowing that he has a Violent Gianna as well. And I'm not sure if you want to lock yourself into that speed off the bat, but it's not exactly terrible either.
Yep, Oliver first pick for Big V, Masha Nana for Thompson. Big V looking to respond after seeing these two units coming out of Thompson.
And I wouldn't mind seeing a Violent Gianna and a Shizuka coming out from Big V here, given the fact that Volantis with the Suns is taken out here. Goes to the Molly Shizuka, and I actually don't like the Molly here. It's a little bit too passive. There's no burst coming out from Big V side, and he's facing down tanky units, hard-hitting units from Thompson.
Yeah, definitely very passive. We're used to seeing a very aggressive Big V, as we saw last year, but it looks like he's going to turn things around by drafting that Nasha.
Yeah, there goes the damage. We see the Narsha here, and I would like to see some other form of damage here. He could also take an Abuelio to make it very weird for Thompson's draft. Takes another water unit instead. Goes to the Water Monkey here. So when you go for the Water Monkey like that, you're a little weak to the Juno here. So Juno could potentially be a ban, is what Big V's thinking, especially when you have a Shizuka and an Oliver on your field. Thompson's flashing a Diana, which I don't think would be the pick here when there's already a Molly. I would like to see, I mean, there really could be anything. He's flashing a Leo, and I'm not sure if I agree with the Leo here. Leo's okay, but Oliver's pretty good in a Leo. Goes with the Sagar instead.
No, I wasn't expecting such a free-to-play draft coming out of Thompson here. Locks in that Win Bison.
Yeah, I don't see a single LD unit on the right-hand side, and on the left-hand side, I only see one LD unit here. So, my hopes and dreams, in seeing an LD abusing matchup is kind of changed here. We see a normal, very ordinary draft. You would not think that you have LD abusers in this game here. If I was Thompson, I'd be thinking about taking some volatility out. If I'm Big V, I'm probably taking out the Nana, or I guess the Sagar is also fine because the Sagar does a lot of disruption to his team. Takes out the Water Monkey, which is a little bit weird. May not want to face the volatility of that Water Monkey into his two fire units, but he does have a lot of protection here, and Water Monkey tends to be very squishy as well.
An extremely interesting draft here. Speed lead for Big V. Big V looking to take that turn 1 away from Thompson, and here we go! Big V versus Thompson, round 1.
Yeah, and so Big V is basically looking to proc through a lot of damage and snipe out units here. There's a lot of protection coming out from that Nana, so Big V's going to need to take a couple of procs if he wants to win here. Does get that first proc on that Oliver.
Yeah, there's that beautiful first proc. No attack bar pushback on top of that Juno. Dominic not in a good position right now.
Yeah, and we'll see if that Juno's tuned to that Masha, because if that Juno is tuned, that Masha's going to be able to do a lot of damage. And it is tuned here, so that Masha does not use skill 2, because it was reset by that Oliver, so that Masha's not going to be able to do a lot of damage.
Yep, he's not able to get a defense break on top of the full immunity team by Big V, but he may go for that damage there onto the Narsha, but instead just goes for some poke damage there. We have Dominic does drop, and that last orb of Nana is going to be dropping off.
Yeah, Dominic does drop there, so not exactly as tanky as I would hope to have some minus damage, but that's going to be a strip coming out from Juno, but does not get very much.
Strips absolutely nothing. We've got just a strip stun sitting on top of the Molly, not the kind of value Thompson was definitely going to be looking for. You can see Big V trying to pummel a little bit of damage, a little bit of attack bar pushback on top of that Nana.
Yeah, and he should put Soul Protect on that Oliver, because that Masha's going to be able to go in on that Oliver next here. Taking his time to think about it, decides to put the Soul Protect on the Narsha instead, which is a little interesting. I'm going to expect Thompson to do a lot of damage onto this Oliver and potentially get an orb onto his Nana.
Yeah, we'll see if the Molly passive comes in as a factor here, but it looks like he chose for some poke damage on top of the Narsha instead. And of course, Dominic's going to be dropping there with no more orbs on top of Nana.
Yeah, so not sure what Thompson's thinking about when he wants to conserve his skills like that, not use it. I mean, I guess he just wants to play the game in auto only or use skill ones only, because I think that killing the Oliver would have allowed him to get a stack and get some momentum in this game here. Maybe he wants to dismount that Narsha, but I'm not sure that's the play here with this Oliver here. You need to get some stacks on that Nana.
Yeah, he definitely needs to. It gets a nice little dismount sitting on top of that Narsha, though. But of course, we've got Oliver. He's going to be taking his turns here, reducing the attack by our units, possibly even violent procking, and rolling it all over again. So we're going to see a skill 2 coming out back onto the Nana. He's trying to get rid of this unit.
Yeah, but I will say Thompson is in a pretty decent spot here despite this Nana going down. That is a very big proc, though. Pretty big proc that's going to give a Soul Protect onto that Narsha. So that might be a game-winning proc if Thompson's not going to be if Thompson's not able to deal with that Soul Protect.
Yeah, not at all. He can even throw that shield on top of the Narsha and make sure that unit is staying alive here in case Juno's able to get that strip back up there. But no strip's going to be coming out from this Juno. We're going to see a Despair Stun potentially going out onto the Dominic.
Probably going to need to did not get a Despair Stun going, but again, Thompson's not able to get that orb onto that Nana. That Nana's not tanky enough to survive this Narsha here, so Thompson's basically down 2 units to 4 and does not have a way to survive longer, does not have a Narsha. So Thompson's going to need to ride this Narsha to victory.
Nice little double Despair Stun, though, on top of the Molly and the Dominic, Oliver, though. Narsha looking for something before she goes out.
Wow, and that's so much damage going on to this Juno here. I think Thompson's going to lose yet another unit, but somehow Big V chooses to throw up his third skill here, allowing Juno to basically survive.
Yep, there it is. I mean, we're going to see some more poke damage coming towards not that Narsha, because that Narsha has that soul protection up here. Got to be careful with that second skill resets. He's not going to have the strip up.
Yeah, that Juno is actually not as tanky as I expected. I would have thought from Thompson we'd see really tanky units, but we don't see that. We also know that Juno's skills are on cooldown, not going to be able to strip here. Thompson does have the best runes in the world, but that Masha's not going to be able to take out 4 units here. So I think we're going to see Big V take this first one.
Yeah, most definitely. There's that third skill, killing off that Juno there, and here it is. Big V is going to be taking his time here with Thompson, because we know Thompson to usually take his time to think about his next match.
Yeah, and that's so much damage going on that Oliver. You see that Oliver pretty much lost 80% of his health in one shot here, so I can't help but think if earlier Thompson should have gone for the Oliver kill so he could get stacks on that Nana. And that kind of swung the game here, because at the end of the day, Thompson was not able to take out any units of Big V's.
Correct. I mean, finally, Thompson's able to remove the Oliver from the field, but it's a little late for that. You see the pummeling damage is going to be raining on top of this Masha now that she's dismounted. Narsha looking for the finish, and Big V taking down Thompson in round 1.
Wow, pretty good showing by Big V. I was a little bit questioning his draft a little bit when he went with the Oliver Shizuka Mali, typically into a player like Thompson who has really, really good LDs and can show a lot of aggression, can bring Narshas in, can bring a lot of damage in, can bring Nephthys in. So many ways to beat you. You don't want to go passive with 3 picks in. You have to pick the ability to flex either way. But it somehow worked. Thompson chose not to go after the Oliver, which was a very interesting choice. When you have a Nana on the field, yet another passive unit, but when you have a Nana on the field, you really need to start using it, which is to kill units, get those stacks going to give yourself some buffer in order to come back into a match if you need it later in the game.
Yeah, even in those moments of immunity, I think you got to use those skills. You know you can pump out a little bit more damage, and who knows, you could violent proc after that to help capitalize off of those kind of moments, but it just didn't work out for Thompson that round, and I think we're going to see a couple more LDs going into this second match, though.
I would love to see some LDs coming out from Thompson. I mean, we know he has some of the best LDs in the world. He's got the Nephthys, he's got the Gianna, he's got the Gurkha, he's got the Narsha, he's got so many LDs here that he could use. I'm not sure if, picking things like Sagar, even though it got banned, or, going with Nanas would be the right play so early. So we'll see where they decide to flex here. If I was Big V, I would be taking out another LD unit. Probably taking out, you could take out the Narsha, you could take out Oliver, knowing that Thompson has first pick here. It really depends on how he perceives this matchup to go.
Alrighty, pre-bans should be coming out very shortly. Gurkha and Volantis now available.
Gurkha and Volantis available, so Big V is probably going to construct his draft around making sure that he can counter the Gurkha if it comes out. So you may see a lot more Junos, you're going to see probably some form of immunity. Things like Shizuka become a bit more effective, things like Masha become necessities if you're going to have to fight a Gurkha.
Nephthys and Cadiz getting the pre-ban in this match. Thompson with the first pick, taking that Oliver.
Yeah, and Oliver is the preferred unit of both players here. They want to fight for that aggression, fight for that turn 1. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Sekhmet and some sort of a Sekhmet and Shizuka coming out from Big V would be good counter picks coming into Thompson here. Gianna's a good pick as well. You have the combination of dropping bombs in the Shizuka and also have Gianna that's going to threaten speed. I think both players run a violent Gianna, which has no draft presence, but is going to allow Big V to basically drop more bombs throughout the game.
Juno and the Masha getting drafted by Thompson. We know that Masha can put out a lot of damage. We'll find out is going to be enough here going up against Big V. Big V looking to respond.
I think Big V has to take the Narsha here to show some aggression. That Thompson also doesn't really have a lot of, doesn't have a super fast strip at the moment. Juno's fast, but not super fast. Big V going with the Ragdoll. I really like the Ragdoll pick. Ragdoll very good into Juno because Juno crits every time. And Thompson's likely to put some sort of lot of crit onto all of his units. So Ragdoll might be a forced ban from Thompson here. And if that's the case, Thompson's going to need to think deeper into turn 2 to survive. But that Miles is a lot of damage. So he does think deeper into turn 2, and we see a Gurkha.
Yeah, Gurkha Molly wrapping up Thompson's draft, which is super interesting. The Gurkha has that ability to just solo everything Big V has.
Yeah, so if I think the 2 bans off the bat would be a Ragdoll and a Gurkha here. Big V's going to draft accordingly to ban out that Gurkha because Gurkha's so dangerous. If Gurkha goes off, the game is over. It is literally over. There's nothing that Big V can do about it. So Gurkha probably needs to be the ban here, and Ragdoll is just so disruptive to his team. So I could see a Gurkha ban. If he takes the Narsha, though, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Molly ban or a Juno ban to prevent some sort of turn 1 disruption. But obviously Gurkha is still the most dangerous unit on the field, and I think Ragdoll is still very scary if I'm Thompson.
Well, let's see. These bans are coming out here as this timer is ticking down. Bans definitely getting locked in. Both players take their time with a lot of things that they do. They're very, very smart players here in the tournament.
So the Gurkha ban is definitely expected here, but I did not expect to see that Shizuka ban. So we see $50,000 draft on the left and a $0 draft on the right here. We have so many LDs coming out from Big V and no LDs on the draft side of Thompson after that ban has been made here. There's going to be a lot of aggression coming out from Big V, but at the same time, Thompson's going to be able to move first with that Juno into a damage from Masha, into resets from Oliver. So Thompson has a turn 1 edge, but Big V has the LDs.
Well, here comes Miles, ready to kick things off. There's no Will on the side of Thompson. And we've got an Oliver maybe in focus here.
Yeah, Thompson does not really need the Will runes here, but again, that strip may trip off Big V's units, and that's actually what we see here. We're going to see the bomb drop off. We're going to see Narsha potentially snipe off a unit, and then if it lands a defense break, that Ragdoll is going to do a lot of damage. So I think this Juno is going to be the first target, or Oliver, and there's just going to be so much damage coming from Big V's side of the field.
There's that stun sitting on top of that Oliver, and Oliver is going to be the unit of focus right now. Does get defense broken, taking a ton of damage coming from that Narsha. No defense break landing on top of the Gianna. Shields coming up on top of the Oliver. A little bit of damage going towards that Narsha. And we've got third skill happening right here, trying to push back the attack bar of the Ragdoll into a second skill, of course.
Yeah, and this is where we're going to see Oliver dominate here. But at the same time, Big V's Narsha is looking very scary. That ability to give defense breaks over and over is going to be valuable when you have a Ragdoll coming up. And there's also a lot of damage coming from this Miles. So Big V with big aggression coming in. Thompson's going to need to hang on, need to have this Molly proc a couple of times.
Ooh, there's that defense break landing on top of the Oliver as well. And a Despair Stun's coming through with the Juno. No Despair Stun's coming through here. Gianna's going to cycle a little bit of attack bar, trying to remove the Oliver from the field. Of course, no stun's going to be landing here. Additional turns popping up. Gianna getting removed.
Gianna getting removed, and we see Narsha's moving next, and it's going to do a ton of damage. It's a pretty tanky Narsha as well. Thompson's going to need to dismount this Narsha. He's going to be in a lot of trouble. He's already has his Masha dismounted here, so Thompson looking like he's in a lot of trouble.
Definitely looking like a lot of trouble indeed. He has to dismount the Narsha, and he's able to do it there with the Masha. No additional turns coming through. Ragdoll looking to torn out. That Masha does miss crit, though. Narsha's going to be there with the additional turn on top. Thompson in so much trouble.
But it's not over yet. You have a Molly that just needs a proc here. This Narsha is going to go down here, and this Juno does do a lot of damage. Thompson has some of the best runes in the game here, so Thompson might be able to come back, but it's going to need a little bit of luck.
Well, there's that Despair Stun going out onto the Narsha. He's not able to drop it there. Molly should be able to finish off the Narsha here because he doesn't have any other opportunities to do anything here. Going to see a first skill. No Despair Stuns going out onto the Miles. Miles going to be providing a lot of damage for Big V.
Wow, and that's a massive proc from that Miles onto that Juno. Every proc from Big V is very big here because it makes him do a lot of damage. Each of these units do so much, and there's nothing Thompson can do to keep this Juno up.
Nothing he can do there. Big V with the big victory over Thompson.
Big one there for Big V. Again, a huge victory between those two Titans. And can you believe it? Is that our first 2-0 of the day? And it was with our two final combatants on how they went head-to-head. Thompson falling just a bit short as we were talking up a huge toolbox, but looking like he was trying to save it for later on. And instead, Big V moves on through and is able to defend his crown for yet another step. Again, no tickets booked to America's Cup quite yet, but still a huge step in the right direction for Big V, guys. That matchup, I would say here, make it a bud, maybe not living up to the hype that we had hoped it could be.
I would say that last match definitely did. I mean, when we saw all those LD units picked, but I can't help but think when I thought Ragdoll would be the ban from Thompson's side, and I really think he would have done better had he banned that Ragdoll, because that's what we saw disrupted his opening, right? It allowed Big V's team to basically take a turn and start doing damage and snipe out the Oliver and disrupt him. And had he banned out Ragdoll, I think Thompson would have been in a much better spot there. And of course, Big V having to ban out that Gurkha, because once Gurkha goes online, ends the game. I liked that last match a lot. It had so many LDs on the field, but you know, 2-0 is a very strong win, and we saw a lot of great play from Big V there.
And you take a look at that bracket, just stacked with players in the semifinals. It is all experience, and it feels like, unlike yesterday, we had the players that were supposed to win eventually won here, Stoic.
Yep, that's exactly what we thought. We've got even a repeat here of America's Cup final last year. It's MADREAMDY and Big V, so it'll be very interesting to see these two going at it later on. And then, of course, RAIGEKI and TRUEWHALE. That's one that a lot of people were kind of expecting. I'd hate to say expecting directly, but kind of expecting to see in that matchup.
All right, well, there you have it. Our semifinals are locked in. And for all of you at home, we're not done yet. We're moving to the semifinals, and it's a best of 5. So we're going to have a lot of variety in terms of picks, in terms of skill set, in terms of strategies. It's going to be a lot of fun. And guys, you know what else is a lot of fun? The collaboration that's baking between Summoner's War and Cookie Run Kingdom. Sweet events and tasty rewards, from one Nat5 cookie giveaway to a collaboration exclusive scroll that will drop within the game. It's coming soon on August 29th. Don't miss out before it crumbles away. Yeah, that was a good one. And crumbles away? Yeah. All right, so make sure you don't miss out on that one. And of course, one of the main reasons why you guys are here. It's the free stuff that we give away as you support SWC. Coupon code time. It's 2 more today. So 2, the number 2, more today. Put that one in, get yourself a scroll and 100,000 mana. Y'all, 2 more today, because that's what's left in our semifinals. 2 matches and 2 tickets to book to America's Cup in October 4. The 2 slots at Worlds. Lots of 2s, so make sure you go ahead and put that one in. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, 2 more players will join the 2 players sitting pretty at America's Cup. Don't go anywhere. You're watching SWC 2022 America's Cup Preliminaries.
My choice for America's Cup winner this year. Don't let me down.
I can see Thompson.
DRMZJOSEPH and TRUEWHALE, bro.
We'll say Thompson.
I think TRUEWHALE's going to bring home America's Cup this time around.
Big V.
SWC should be amazing this year.
Speed lead on the side of Big V is Big V. I see the giant net coming out.
You have 3 monsters around you, but they're all a
Thompson is going to be taking Jay back in.
We're hoping for to take it in games
Summoners War World Arena Championship format. Tournament favorite is our first ever Summoners War World Arena Champion.
He takes it! BD is our champion! It worked!
Gun is going to be this year's SWC champion.
Legendary like my birthplace. It's my time like my birthday.
My destiny. I'm standing up so the world can see that I came to leave a legacy.
You're my choice for America's Cup winner this year. Don't let me down.
I can say Thompson.
DRMZJOSEPH and TRUEWHALE, bro.
We'll say Thompson.
I think TRUEWHALE's going to bring home America's Cup this time around.
Big B.
SWC should be amazing this year.
Speed lead on the side of Big V is Big V. You're gonna see the giant net coming out.
You have three monsters around you, but they're all a
Thompson is gonna be taking J-Mac.
We're hoping for, but to take it in games.
Win one right here, of course, Jiwoo. It's a big victory for Big V.
Although I didn't like it, is getting a lot of turns here. It's giving a lot of protection of TVs.
Microcrusher is here now, finally.
Summoners War World Arena Championship format. Tournament favorite is our first ever Summoners War World Arena Champion.
He takes it! BD is our champion! It worked!
Gun is going to be this year's SWC champion.
Legendary like my birthplace. It's my time like my birthday.
My destiny. I'm standing up so the world can see that I came to leave a legacy.
my choice for America's Cup winner this year. Don't let me down.
I can see Thompson.
MADREAMDY and TRUEWHALE, bro.
We'll say Thompson.
I think TRUEWHALE's going to bring home America's Cup this time around.
BIGV.
SWC should be amazing this year.
Speed lead on the side of Big V is Big V. I see the giant net coming out.
You have 3 monsters around you, but they're all a
Thompson is going to be taking Jay back in.
We're hoping for to take it in games.
Win one right here, of course, Jiwoo. It's a big victory for Big V.
Although I didn't like it, is getting a lot of turns here. It's giving a lot of protection to the team.
Summoners War World Arena Championship format. Tournament favorite is our first ever Summoners War World Arena Champion.
He takes it! BD is our champion! It's work!
John is going to be this year's SWC champion.
Legendary like my birthplace. It's my time like my birthday.
I'm standing up so the world can see that I came to leave a legacy.
my choice for America's Cup winner this year. Don't let me down.
I can see Thompsin.
MADREAMDY and TRUEWHALE, bro.
We'll say Thompsin.
I think TRUEWHALE's going to bring home America's Cup this time around.
BIGV.
SWC should be amazing this year.
Speed lead on the side of Big V is Big V. I see the giant net coming out.
You have 3 monsters around you, but they're all a
Thompsin is going to be taking Jay back in.
We're hoping for to take it in games.
Win one right here, of course, Jiwoo. It's a big victory for Big V.
Although I didn't like it, is getting a lot of turns here. It's giving a lot of protection to two knees.
Summoners War World Arena Championship format. Tournament favorite is our first ever Summoners War World Arena Champion.
He takes it! BD is our champion! It's
John is going to be this year's SWC champion.
Legendary like my birthplace. It's my time like my birthday.
no one my destiny. I'm standing up so the world can see. And I came to leave a legacy.
A day worthy of the America's Cup itself. Prelims Day 2 has been fantastic, and we're not done yet. 2-1s across the board, except that final matchup between two of the highest rated America's region players in the history of SWC, going head-to-head with a 2-0 victory for Big V. But we've got 2 tickets to book to New York City at America's Cup. Welcome back, everyone, to SWC 2022 America's Cup Prelims Day 2. D-Gon here with Stoic and Make It a Bud. And guys, it has been really, really good so far as we move into the semifinals, and also take a look at the bracket. Again, one more time to celebrate all of these players. TRUEWHALE and RAIGEKI, our first semifinals, and MADREAMDY and Big V in a rematch of the 2021 America's Cup Finals. Stoic, this is awesome, man.
It really has been. It's been an incredible tournament. It's nothing but like everybody at the edge of their seat all the way down to the Thompson Big V match. Everyone was expecting Thompson to either get a victory or potentially take the match, but every single match we're at the edge of our seat and just being entertained thoroughly. It was fantastic throughout our day.
Make it a bud. This is I think the competition that you were looking for. We didn't quite see that level yesterday, but then today, now we're seeing a lot of the familiar names, a lot of the great players on the ladder show up, right?
I mean, this definitely has been awesome. I mean, we got to see so many LD units coming out from Big V here. We're going to see a very technical matchup between TRUEWHALE and RAIGEKI. I'm really looking forward to that one. Both of them are good friends of mine, and they both have similar units, and it's just going to be really interesting to see how very powerful artifacts stack up against each other. We saw RAIGEKI with lots of additional damage coming out from his oracles, and it's going to be interesting to see how TRUEWHALE perceives that, how he decides to balance threat versus turn 2, if he still wants to go with a very passive style of play that we've seen sometimes, or if he wants to take more aggression and dominate the game.
Yeah, again, taking a look at how they qualified on through here. The surprise set 1 victory for Q Dizzle put TRUEWHALE on the back foot, but TRUEWHALE very adept for that, showing off and flexing the box a little bit, the strategy, and was able to get the win here, Stoic.
That's right. I mean, TRUEWHALE Yeah, putting out a nail biter, to be honest with you, even into that third match as well. You know, big grats on him for getting that victory. I think a little aggressive more play is always can be said here. For players just like TRUEWHALE, if he was a bit more aggressive, maybe we wouldn't have been at the edge of our seats. So maybe, you know, we'll see, because I don't know if aggressive might be the way to play going up against RAIGEKI, but for those previous matches, I guess aggression could have helped a little.
Perfect segue into his opponent, RAIGEKI, who has been at this stage before, a player that is well respected across the SWC landscape, and again, an America's Cup player who has been close but never been able to topple some of the titans, and he's going to have to do so, the highest rated player in the tournament here. Make it a bud.
Yeah, I mean, TRUEWHALE definitely the highest rated player. I mean, he does have a legend finish, which is a very big deal here. And TRUEWHALE is currently sitting at number 2 on the ladder, so number 2 player in the world at the moment. So definitely, it is kind of like a David versus Goliath type of situation. But RAIGEKI, if there's anyone that can do it, it would be a technical mastermind like RAIGEKI. Really uses every component of his box to the fullest potential. Really drafts carefully and balances threat and survivability, as he's had to with the limited box and runes, and has done so and adjusted very well throughout his Summoner's War career.
Again, what I've loved about today is that there have been no sneaky chubby ninjas sneaking on through. It has all been guys that have been with the pressure and going up forward and up front. And here's the big one. Again, a best of 5, so strategy on the line here. Which way are you going, Stoic?
Man, I can't help but say TRUEWHALE has this one. It's because of that monster box of his. He's got the units that RAIGEKI just can't draft, and it doesn't stop at the LDs. There's other units that RAIGEKI does not have on the field that TRUEWHALE can draft, so it just might be a tool advantage here with TRUEWHALE, and I gotta go with TRUEWHALE.
Make it a bud. We know and we love the fact that anything can happen. We've seen upsets happen. We haven't seen TRUEWHALE make it America's Cup, or out of America's Cup yet, so probably going to make it on in, but will he do it right here, right now against RAIGEKI?
I actually think this one is close to a toss-up. I originally had this one like 3-1 TRUEWHALE, but we know he's out camping on a Starlink Wi-Fi. So if he's not 100% focused, he may lose an edge to RAIGEKI here. So I think it's still going to be 3-2 TRUEWHALE. But if it really goes that far, I mean, if it goes to 2-2, it really could be anyone's match. But I have to give the edge a little bit to TRUEWHALE.
All right, there it is. 2 TRUEWHALE predictions. Will he be able to handle the pressure and handle what RAIGEKI throws at him? Let's find out. One of these players going to New York City for America's Cup. One of them will have to wait until next weekend. RAIGEKI versus TRUEWHALE.
And here we go, guys. We're going to get into this beautiful match here. TRUEWHALE versus RAIGEKI, a best of 5. We're going to be getting into the pre-bans shortly. A lot of things could happen here.
Yeah, and I've actually been looking forward to this matchup a lot because it is very technical, and it really all revolves around what RAIGEKI does have or does not have in his box. We know RAIGEKI does not have Dominic and Oliver. We know that in his box he has the best Juno, one of the best Junos in the world here. So TRUEWHALE wisely taking away the segment. RAIGEKI taking away the Tianlang, probably anticipating that he's going to want to rely on his Juno later, and does so right off the bat.
Slamming down these picks very quickly. TRUEWHALE with the Shizuka, RAIGEKI with the Nana in a very early Juno once again.
Yeah, and I like the Juno pick from RAIGEKI at this point. It really doesn't hurt to lay it down here, and it's really good in the Shizuka. I'm not sure about the Shizuka pick from TRUEWHALE. Kind of makes it awkward. Ragdoll, of course, is a great pick into a Nana and a Juno, and we see that Dominic from TRUEWHALE.
Yep, Dominic coming in for TRUEWHALE as well. A lot of damage on the side of TRUEWHALE already. RAIGEKI looking to respond to these 2 units. We haven't seen a Miles yet, and I think a Miles might be heavily favoring TRUEWHALE's draft now that Amasha's on the field.
Yeah, and we have that Masha coming out from RAIGEKI, and we do see the Abuelio. I do like that Abuelio a lot. We've noted in the previous matches that TRUEWHALE's Dominic hits very hard, so there's a very good chance that Dominic trips off the Abuelio, and it's going to make it very awkward for TRUEWHALE. So TRUEWHALE may want to think about banning out the Abuelio at some point. We'll see what he decides to do, where his head's at with these next 2 picks, but I like that draft from RAIGEKI so far.
I do like it indeed. Ooh, a Molly. I feel like I'm not a fan of Molly in today's draft. Just feels a little too passive in my opinion. Miles is going to be drafted for TRUEWHALE.
Yeah, and I do not like that Molly here. I mean, as you called out earlier, that Miles, solid pick from TRUEWHALE. I do not like that Miles, especially when there's a Juno on the field. I think that Juno is a little awkward in a Molly, but not RAIGEKI's Juno. That Juno hits so hard. It's going to allow him to take a lot of turns. Volantis, great pick as always here. So I think RAIGEKI probably looking to take out that Ragdoll, given how much additional turns, how many crits he's going to take. RAIGEKI's going to take out that Ragdoll, and we might see TRUEWHALE take out that Nana to make things awkward, or the Abuelo. Decides to take out that Masha, and we see that Molly leading the field.
Yeah, Molly's going to get banned out here for TRUEWHALE. Masha's going to get banned out as well. HP lead for TRUEWHALE. Crit rate lead for RAIGEKI. We're kicking it off, guys, with our very first match in a best of 5. TRUEWHALE, RAIGEKI.
And so this is going to be a long match here. We're going to see a lot of back and forth here. It's going to be tough for TRUEWHALE to find an opening because there is a very good Abuelo from RAIGEKI's side of the field. So TRUEWHALE's going to need to string together a couple of procs to get that burst and get a kill in.
Yeah, full value right there out of that Volantis. A lot of damage coming from Dominic, which we've stated before. It's going to be pummeling a lot of damage in here. We do have some things available to a third skill of the Shizuka. Let's see what he goes for. He goes for the skill 2 on his Shizuka instead.
Yeah, and TRUEWHALE's here, this Ragdoll is going to get a lot of value. There's so many crits coming out from RAIGEKI's side, so TRUEWHALE's going to take so many turns over and over and over again. And that's a massive Despair Stun onto that Dominic from RAIGEKI.
Yeah, big Despair Stun, and also great damage coming out of that Juno as well, which we've also stated this Juno's going to be slamming the damage in.
Yeah, so much damage to that Abuelo, also critting that Dominic, so that Dominic just taking so much pressure here. I'm not sure if TRUEWHALE's going to be able to keep it alive. He doesn't have a healer, so if he loses that Dominic, he's going to lose the ability to do a lot of pressure, to apply a lot of pressure and burst down a unit.
Yeah, most definitely. We're going to see Ragdoll looking to do some damage to this Nana. Nana still has that one stack. No units have been taken away from this field yet. Looks like TRUEWHALE's going to put his focus into that Nana with the Miles as well. We do have a heal that is going to be blocked on the other units, so RAIGEKI keeping that in mind here.
RAIGEKI holding off on using skill 3 from the Abuelo. One of the best Abuelo users I've seen, knows when to hold off on using skill 3 and hold off on using his skills. That's a lot of damage coming out from that Dominic.
That's a lot of damage coming out from Dominic. Indeed, he has that skill 2 still available. He can use it to take away pretty much any unit from RAIGEKI's team. We know what kind of damage could come out here, but we've got a big strip. No strip coming up from the Juno here.
No strip coming out from the Juno. Really interesting choice here. We're probably looking at not wanting to give Ragdoll all that attack bar here, but I don't know if that's going to be a mistake. If that's Dominic gets another turn, if it somehow resists another strip down the line here, TRUEWHALE could find a way to down something of RAIGEKI's.
Ooh, Despair Stun going out onto the Dominic here. And now we've got another first skill going into the Ragdoll.
Wow, and that's a stunned up Dominic. My head is spinning here, seeing that Dominic just stunned there, not able to move.
Ooh, no Despair Stuns going out, but the Dominic is going to be revived with that Soul Protection. No skills up for the Shizuka. Everybody is Despair Stunned. We've got Miles looking to try and pummel the damage still on top of that Nana.
Yeah, RAIGEKI looking so good here. There's an orb on that Nana. There's defense breaks across TRUEWHALE's units here. So I think RAIGEKI's in a good spot. That Abuelo is going to do a lot of damage, and so is that Juno coming up here.
Yeah, most definitely. We can see a first kill going into the Dominic. Juno is going to remove that Dominic from the field. That's another orb going up on top of the Nana here. No additional turns coming up from the Shizuka. Big wild blow going out onto the Ragdoll. TRUEWHALE at a 2-unit deficit right now.
Yeah, TRUEWHALE at a 2-unit deficit. Definitely lost game 1 there. Goes to RAIGEKI with a powerful performance with that Juno, with that Nana.
That is correct. RAIGEKI taking round 1 away from TRUEWHALE.
Interesting way that match panned out there. I thought he would ban out that Ragdoll, but I do like his choice there to leave that Ragdoll on the field and just do damage over time. Felt like that Abuelo was going to make it awkward for TRUEWHALE. And that's why I thought he would think about banning out that unit, because if that Abuelo is in there, it's really hard to sink a kill. It's hard to remove units, even if you get a couple of procs, because there's that heal lying in wait, and RAIGEKI's just really good at knowing when to preserve that heal. So I think TRUEWHALE could have thought about taking out Abuelo, but really masterful play from RAIGEKI there. I really like how he set up his draft. Just ultimately just was able to do a lot of damage and take out TRUEWHALE's units.
Yeah, most definitely. He did get some really nice stuns there to keep TRUEWHALE back from doing any, having some really great moments for him. Getting rid of the Nana definitely seemed to be the priority for TRUEWHALE. He just wasn't able to get any value with any really big-time violent procs to really, pummel the damage in on top of RAIGEKI. RAIGEKI was able to hold him back.
Yeah, and I feel like that might be the cast or curse that you're trying to bring in there when you take a pause and say procs there. But I think that, again, this is a very technical matchup. It's going to be about a technical draft. It's going to be about who has what in RAIGEKI's box, how they're going to draft around RAIGEKI's box, because everything is going to revolve around what he has and doesn't have, because TRUEWHALE has everything in this game between these two players. He has every single unit. So as we go into the next set of pre-bans here, I wouldn't be surprised to see TRUEWHALE take out that Juno. That Juno gives RAIGEKI a lot of versatility in this draft. It does so much damage here. And I think RAIGEKI's going to take out another LD unit. Chooses to take out the Moore. Interesting pick there. And a Ciara pre-ban from TRUEWHALE is a little odd, given that we didn't even see a Ciara coming out from RAIGEKI. But we also know that it's probably one of his only speed leads, given that he doesn't have an Oliver.
Yeah, that's super interesting to see the pre-bans coming out as a Ciara and a Moore. Shizuka getting prioritized this time by RAIGEKI, not the Nana. But I feel like I prefer Nana on TRUEWHALE's side of the field because he could definitely bring a lot more aggression than RAIGEKI can.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting pick here that both of them prioritize the Shizuka over each other. Shizuka is generally pretty weak into Juno, so I thought TRUEWHALE would have fought to steal that Juno earlier, but instead does not. RAIGEKI quick slamming down that Volantis and the Juno here. I would like to see a Veramos from TRUEWHALE, and I don't think we're going to see it. It's just such a niche pick, but a Veramos would do so much here. We do see the Ragdoll. Ragdoll is a very good pick here. Tian Lang would not have been bad instead of that Ragdoll because it provides a little bit more offensive capability, but either unit is great in this situation.
Yeah, very interesting. So I'm not a big fan after seeing a Volantis Juno coming out of RAIGEKI. I feel like a predictability is coming out of RAIGEKI, but we'll see how it works out. From Oberon getting hovered over right now, Oberon Shizuka is an excellent combination.
Wow, and RAIGEKI actually has a lot of threat on the table. He has a lot of damage over time from the Volantis, from the Juno, and has a Shizuka Oberon combination. I love this Narsha pick from TRUEWHALE here. Basically, it's threatening a kill off the bat here. RAIGEKI's going to really need to think about banning either the Narsha or the Nana here to make it awkward, but to be able to survive here. But that Abuelio also makes it super awkward. If that Oberon is not removed from RAIGEKI's side, RAIGEKI might not have the burst to get through an Abuelio.
Ooh, Shizuka is going to get the ban, and Nasha is going to get the ban as well. A very interesting draft for this round 2.
Yeah, and we're going to see that Oberon die at some point in this game here, giving TRUEWHALE a stack here. So RAIGEKI's going to need to have enough damage over time from these 3 units to be able to take on 5 lives on TRUEWHALE's side.
Most definitely. Let's get into it, guys. TRUEWHALE RAIGEKI, round 2. Big damage coming out from this Dominic with an additional turn as well.
Wow, that is a massive additional turn. Downs the Volantis off the bat with additional turn here.
That is massive aggression coming out of TRUEWHALE. The proc on that Dominic was huge. Juno looking to get any grasp of hope to keep RAIGEKI into this match here.
And this is so difficult. RAIGEKI does not have any burst here. He's got a lot of additional damage from the Praha and the Juno, but does not have burst. I mean, there is that Oberon, but that Oberon's not going to be able to take anything out because there's 2 stacks on the Nana, so lots of protection coming out from TRUEWHALE's side. I'm not really sure what RAIGEKI's win condition is right now.
Definitely a lot of damage there going out on the Baleo, but additional turn coming out of this Dominic. Looking to pummel in more damage on top of the Praha. He does have that sustain to get his team back up here. He's trying to get rid of that Avelio as soon as possible. There is one more orb left in the tank.
Yeah, I got to get rid of that Avelio. That is a big proc coming out from that Juno because every bit of damage is massive here. But RAIGEKI's staring down a lot of damage coming from this Dominic and Ragdoll. TRUEWHALE really needs an orb on this Nana.
Oh, a beautifully timed heal coming out of the Abalio while he was really, really low. A lot of damage going out onto this Praha, and I'm assuming TRUEWHALE is going to be pummeling that damage to get another orb as soon as possible.
Yeah, TRUEWHALE's going to be pummeling damage in here, but again, RAIGEKI's about to lose his Praha here, and that Oberon's out of steam, and TRUEWHALE evens it 1-1.
1-1, there's the concede. TRUEWHALE responding back in round 2.
Yeah, and that one just came down to that proc off the bat. I mean, TRUEWHALE apparently has one of the best Dominics in the world, able to proc on command, but also does so much damage when it does proc. I mean, we saw half the HP of the Volantis go down in one shot, and the other half in the other shot. It's just so much damage here, and I know RAIGEKI's Volantis is not squishy. It is not on fighter runes.
It's definitely a well-runed unit, but we all know Dominic for just dealing some insane numbers. And like you said, one of the best runed Dominics in the world here with TRUEWHALE.
Yeah, I mean, when a unit can dominate a game like that and basically solo an entire team with a couple of procs, makes it really tough to counter. And that's what makes this matchup so difficult for RAIGEKI, is the fact that he's limited to his box here. There's so many ways TRUEWHALE can hit him from. Taking out that Sierra again is pretty interesting there earlier, but I guess it didn't really matter. There's so many ways that TRUEWHALE can approach us. We see the same pre-bans from that first match, which also makes sense.
It'll be interesting to see. So knowing that the pre-bans from last time were Ciara and more, I'm curious, are we actually going to see a Ciara and more in this match here?
I don't know if we're going to see a Ciara more here. It's tough to say here. It really depends on how the match pans out. They waste no time getting into their picks, prioritizing that Shizuka first, which is always interesting. I think TRUEWHALE really is taking that Shizuka to deny RAIGEKI that Shizuka pick, because Shizuka Oberon combination is very powerful. See the same opener here. We see that Ragdoll, and we see that Dominic.
I do like that opener from TRUEWHALE. I like the Shizuka. I like the denial against RAIGEKI for that one. Ragdoll Dominic is definitely something that even I look into myself. But RAIGEKI looking to draft a Masha, bringing back a Aurelio.
Same drafts as that first round here. Masha Aurelio making it a little awkward for TRUEWHALE. We saw how resilient RAIGEKI's team was that first time around. Aurelio really being a key unit in this matchup here, because a person would need to burst and proc and do a lot of damage to get through that. So really strong unit here, and TRUEWHALE's going to have to think about how he wants to get through this.
I am at a loss for words. I was not expecting to see Amali and Praha come out for TRUEWHALE here.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that level of passive play here, but these are two decent picks too. I mean, Praha's very good into whatever RAIGEKI has on the field, but RAIGEKI again has one of the best Junos in the world. So it's going to come down to artifacts for this one and the additional damage that they deal over time, and I really like RAIGEKI's artifacts. So, between these two players and how they've ruined their units, I think RAIGEKI has a bit of an edge in this draft here. And that's a lot of damage that's going to be presented and threat coming out from this Oberon. So I think that's something TRUEWHALE needs to be aware of. TRUEWHALE is aware of that and takes out the Nana instead and prefers to be okay losing a unit and dealing with the Oberon later.
Let's see if that's what's going to be happening here. He does ban out that Nana as we get into a round 3 between TRUEWHALE and RAIGEKI. Dominic, a very fast Dominic, kicking things off for us here.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see which unit he goes after. TRUEWHALE might have to hope for a proc and go on that Oberon. That's exactly what he does, and gets that proc!
God! Gets the Violet proc, drops the Oberon almost immediately!
Wow, TRUEWHALE taking the previous match with a proc from that Dominic earlier and getting another proc from that Dominic. This match truly the best Dominic in the world, procking on command like that.
Really is. It was such an impressive moment there for TRUEWHALE. TRUEWHALE probably going to be using that, or uses the skill too, onto the Dominic. He wants to get that second skill up there, and we're again going to see some big numbers coming out of that Dominic, unless RAIGEKI can remove this unit from the field.
Yeah, TRUEWHALE's gonna need to dismount this Masha. This Masha does bring a lot of defense breaks, and so brings a lot of bursts and makes things awkward. I'm not sure why he's pummeling damage into that Aurelio. Does not want to trip out the passive, but I really think his first focus should be dismounting that Masha. That Masha is gonna allow RAIGEKI to climb back into the game if he's able to get it to proc a couple of times.
Let's see if he goes with that skill too. That additional turret does pop up, does not bode well for RAIGEKI here.
Yeah, in either event here, this Aurelio will eventually get the skills out. That's so much damage coming out from that Dominic.
It really is. Nice little provoke there to help keep those units back. Provoke landing on top of that Dominic. We're going to see a third skill. He's able to stun and keep back this Aurelio if he chooses to go for that.
And I don't think TRUEWHALE should be using third skill there. Wisely holds off on using that skill because Juno does have strip available. So good show of restraint from TRUEWHALE there. As expected from the former legend, RAIGEKI's just going to pummel damage into that Dominic with the Juno and look to take it out.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening here. He is pummeling that damage into that Dominic. Dominic is provoked right now, but he will be going after the not so healthy Aurelio.
Yeah, and this is TRUEWHALE's window of opportunity here. This Aurelio does proc, which is a massive proc, but it's still going to take a lot of damage on this next set of turns.
It will. It's not able to kill that Dominic. Dominic does have soul protection up. We're going to see a lot of value coming out of that skill too. Able to kill the Dominic, but doesn't get the strip. Dominic's going to revive back.
Wow, really unlucky for RAIGEKI not to get the strip onto the win unit there. Massive heal from the Juno, picked up the Abuela here. So again, we're going to have a lot of back and forth, but really unlucky for RAIGEKI there.
Very unlucky indeed. He does have that skill too. He can throw it back onto the Dominic. And let's see if that is going to be enough. Is he going to try and go after Dominic? He is. Skill 2 is available. He could go for that dismount on top of the Masha.
I think he needs to dismount this Masha here right now because that Masha is so scary, but goes for the Abuelio and does not kill it.
Goes for the Abuelio again, but he does have the skill 1 from the Praha. That's going to remove the Abuelio from the field, and that might be what secures this victory here for TRUEWHALE.
Yeah, that definitely might be what secures that victory in this match here. TRUEWHALE has 4 units, lots of resilience, still has a Shizuka supporting the team here. RAIGEKI has 2 fire units here, definitely not enough to take out this Praha and the Shizuka together.
Definitely not enough. Nice little additional turn there. Does have skill 2 available coming up next turn for that Shizuka. First skill is going to be enough to dismount the Masha. No additional turn coming out of the Ragdoll here. RAIGEKI trying to get a kill here onto the Dominic. Does confirm that kill. First skill available, of course, for Praha, pummeling the damage, building up all that attack bar here. Juno, I don't know what kind of value we can get out of this, but he needs to see Despair Stuns.
Yeah, RAIGEKI at this point is playing as if everything goes his way. That's exactly what you need to do if you want to come back. But that Masha didn't proc. There was no Despair Stun from that Juno. We're going to see Dominic take out this Masha here.
An easy take right there. We're just going to see skill 1. No, choosing to heal up his team to full. It's definitely a fine decision.
Definitely a fine decision there, but again, RAIGEKI not going to have enough burst to take out TRUEWHALE's units. It's a really well-runed Juno, but again, these are 3 very powerful units. And there we go. TRUEWHALE takes it 2-1.
That is right, 2-1. TRUEWHALE with another really big victory over RAIGEKI. He can lock it in, or RAIGEKI can take another match away going into a Game 5.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how RAIGEKI pivots. I do like RAIGEKI's draft off the bat. I mean, that Oberon would have been really difficult to deal with because I know it's a pretty tanky Oberon. Like, it's got enough HP, got enough damage, and it's statted in such a way that RAIGEKI knows that he'll be able to get a skill off unless a Dominic of that nature procs like it did there. So if that Dominic did not proc, I think Oberon would have taken out a unit.
Most definitely. I think if that Oberon did stay alive, though, I think we may have had a different outcome for RAIGEKI. So as we get into this Game 4 here, let's see what kind of outcome we have going into it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what the two of them bring. I think we're going to see a very similar layout from Game 2 here, and it's just going to be a lot of back and forth, a lot of balance between these units. But again, I mean, RAIGEKI just not getting the upper hand in terms of RNG today. That Oberon, I know, is on some plus damage artifacts there, and it would do a lot of work there. It would remove a key unit of TRUEWHALE's off the table there. So we'll see if RAIGEKI's going to be able to hold his composure here and come back. He only needs to win 2 more matches to lock in his slot for America's Cup.
I'm curious if an Abuelio pre-ban might be good for TRUEWHALE, and chooses to pre-ban the CR. It's so strange when we see a CR pre-ban, and of course Dominic. RAIGEKI doesn't want to see this unit anymore.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see that Sierra pre-ban. I would like to see the Juno pre-ban, given the fact that it is one of RAIGEKI's best rune units and has amazing artifacts. And that Dominic pre-ban from RAIGEKI makes a ton of sense. We have not seen a Moor from TRUEWHALE, so there's no reason to take out that Moor, and RAIGEKI's not exactly weak to a Moor just yet. But that Dominic has been proccing uncontrollably, so it definitely makes sense to take that threat off the table.
Yeah, most definitely. I love that TRUEWHALE went with a Nashor this time. It changes the pace just a little bit already very early into his draft. RAIGEKI locking down the segment and again the Abuelio.
Yeah, and I would like to see TRUEWHALE play a Tian Lang at some point there. RAIGEKI's not exactly giving him the opportunity to do so, but we know RAIGEKI's thinking Juno later in the match here. I would like to see TRUEWHALE dip into the LDs a little bit more, use something that's a little bit more powerful. I would also like to see an Oliver, and Oliver would be a great pick at some point, even though there's a segment on the table. But TRUEWHALE decides to go for a passive Molly here, and then a Miles.
Yeah, Molly and Miles coming in for TRUEWHALE. RAIGEKI locking in the free-to-play unit Tessarian, as well as another free-to-play unit, Riley.
I love that Tessarian pick there. There's so many things on all 4 units on TRUEWHALE's side are weak to Tessarian at the moment. And that Tessarian's likely going to be super tanky from RAIGEKI. He takes the Riley to give him a little bit of resilience over time. So TRUEWHALE needs to bring a heavy hitter as his last pick, or he's not going to be able to get through RAIGEKI's defenses.
And it looks like TRUEWHALE's going to be locking in another water unit in the form of Praha in response to the Riley and Tessarian.
So that Praha speed buff is going to pump up that Miles a lot here. I think the form of volatility is going to come from Narsha. So RAIGEKI could think to ban out the Narsha or could think to ban out the Miles if he wants to have less volatility in his matchup. Nana is also an acceptable ban, but I think Narsha is probably the scariest unit. And on RAIGEKI's side, I mean, Tasarian makes sense, but there's just so many threats. It's a really welcome subject.
Ooh, Praha is going to get the ban here. And Abelio is going to get the ban on the side of RAIGEKI. We've got leader skills coming out very shortly. Defense lead and HP lead. Both players are tanking up here as we get into round 4 with RAIGEKI versus TRUEWHALE.
And so RAIGEKI's going to open up with the segment here. Not open up with the segment. That's a really fast Miles. Let's see if it can get this stun on the segment. That will change the pace of this game.
Ooh, choosing to go for a stun on top of the Tasarian. Not receiving anything here. Reset's going out onto the Nasher, and it does land true.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that he didn't go for that stun on that segment there earlier, because the stun on that segment and then with burst from the Narsha would do a lot in this game here. But instead goes for the Tasarian, and TRUEWHALE's now going to be on the back foot here. It does not have a lot of burst and has Oblivion up on that Miles, and it's not going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to do a ton of damage here, but it does have the cleanse available with this Molly. Let's see if it chooses to cleanse this unit or hold on to the cleanse, because some dangerous things can pop up onto this field.
Yeah, but again, that Oblivion on that Miles is going to be really detrimental. There's a lot of sustain coming out from this Riley. This Narsha is going to need a proc if TRUEWHALE wants a chance to win. That Tasarian's Oblivion is just going to be so powerful here, and that's a massive proc.
That's a massive proc, not able to get the kill on top of the Narsha. With that Oblivion, it would have just removed Narsha from the field. It would have been revived back with that last orb sitting on top of Nana.
Yeah, but that Narsha is also not going to do any damage with an Oblivion. And that orb is burned off. That Miles still not going to do damage. It has a 2-turn Oblivion on it, so RAIGEKI is in a very good spot here, and it's going to have skill 2 from that segment, which is going to land a lot of defense breaks.
Ooh, a lot of defense breaks indeed on top of the Molly and the Narsha. Narsha does get dismounted here. We can go for a skill 2 here. Any Despair stuns coming through? I don't believe so.
Yeah, I don't believe we have enough Despair stuns there, and we also have a very squishy Narsha here that might go down. TRUEWHALE preemptively gives it a shield, which is a wise move here, but I don't know if he's going to be able to survive.
Yep, there's that third skill coming out with Shizuka. Stuns up all of TRUEWHALE's units here.
Yeah, and that's a massive proc from the Riley because he now has Cleanse on the next turn, which is a big deal here. RAIGEKI's going to do a ton of damage onto this Narsha soon.
Yep, a lot of damage coming out shortly. Narsha trying to stay alive just as long as possible here. No additional turns coming out from TRUEWHALE. Molly trying to heal the team as much as possible. We've got totems available for the Riley. Full buffs on the side of RAIGEKI.
Yeah, and RAIGEKI just looking so good here. Has great tanky units. TRUEWHALE does not have an orb left. He does get a proc on that Miles, but that Miles is not going to do enough over time. There's not enough burst left on TRUEWHALE's side as he loses this Narsha here.
Yeah, Narsha's definitely going down. There's not much TRUEWHALE could do about that. Not enough sustain, and the Miles just not popping off like Miles could.
Yeah, Miles definitely not pop enough because he needs a lot of burst here. Would need a proc there, but look at how much damage it does. It doesn't do very much damage at all to that Tasarian there. So unfortunately, TRUEWHALE is just not going to be able to secure a kill on any unit here.
Yep, there's the additional turns coming out of Shizuka. Shizuka with skill 2 available, bringing down the cooldowns with Sekhmet. Going for the Curse of Beautiful, landing all those negative effects here. And we can see Tasarians popping off here, removing the Molly from the field. There are no orbs available to bring that unit back. RAIGEKI taking round 4 away from TRUEWHALE.
Wow, what a match there. I mean, I don't think we've seen too many Tasarians today, so it's great to see that unit in action, and I really like how RAIGEKI statted his Tasarian. It really feels like it's minus water because, you know, TRUEWHALE's got great runes. That Miles is gonna hit very hard, but it really did like 15% onto that Tasarian. I still kind of question the opening when TRUEWHALE did not use the Miles to at least attempt to stun that segment, because I think TRUEWHALE's path to victory is to get an opening with that Narsha and take a unit out with a proc. Which is sad to say. I think he needs that proc to win because RAIGEKI has such a resilient team there. And TRUEWHALE, not enough damage. You have 2 damage dealers, but one is not a heavy burst damage dealer. Miles is a damage over time unit, unless it procs. But Narsha is your burst, and that's about it. So if Narsha goes down, your entire team falls apart there.
Yeah, the Tasarian was an amazing draft. It's a free-to-play unit. It was an amazing unit for RAIGEKI. RAIGEKI looking so good in that 4th round, but for us to be going into a Game 5 feels just right with TRUEWHALE and RAIGEKI.
And I did say earlier, if it goes to 2-2, it can be anyone's game here. I know we gave the edge to TRUEWHALE earlier, but it really could go any way. It is a coin flip. RAIGEKI will have to face this Dominic this round, and we know how much that Dominic likes to proc. We know how powerful it is, how much damage it does. So we'll see if RAIGEKI's able to draft around that unit.
I almost want to say pre-bans were the issue. Seeing all that CR pre-ban, I just don't know if that was the unit for TRUEWHALE to be giving so much focus to. But Sekhmet and Tian Lang are going to be the units pre-ban this time.
That's true. We haven't seen a segment coming out, and I also don't know if, or we haven't seen a Sierra coming out, and I don't know if that's a Sierra. Well, we do see a Sierra coming out, which is really interesting here. TRUEWHALE does have an Narsha. The weakness of the Sierra is the fact that it generally is a little squishy. Now, I think RAIGEKI's is kind of tanky, but it generally has to be squishy because of all the stats you have to bring on it. So it's weak to things like Narsha. It's weak sometimes to things like Ragdolls and Tianlangs. They make it a little awkward for a Sierra. So it's right up TRUEWHALE's alley to fight a unit like that. So kind of interesting to see that RAIGEKI prioritizes the Sierra this early.
Yeah, very interesting. It's funny that RAIGEKI chose to shut me up in that moment, but Dominic and Ragdoll coming out for TRUEWHALE, and RAIGEKI is going to respond.
And this is where if I had LD units here, if I was RAIGEKI and had LD units, I would have taken like an Isis or a Light Monkey or something like that. Volantis is a great pick here. Praha is an interesting pick here going into the Dominic. It tells me he's likely going to ban out the Dominic unless TRUEWHALE makes another interesting pick here.
I think he has to make a very, very good pick for TRUEWHALE here, and he is going to be taking that Juno away, the Juno being so good up against the Volantis. I think RAIGEKI is going to be banning out that Dominic, knowing how fast that Dominic is.
I don't know if RAIGEKI can ban out that Dominic though, because I really like these last two picks from TRUEWHALE. That Juno is going to do a lot of damage. It's going to pick up his team a lot. It's pretty much the perfect pick in the RAIGEKI there. That Welio is going to make it a little awkward. And that's exactly why RAIGEKI needs to bring in that burst damage there. You're going to see that for sure Ragdoll is going to be left in the game, but there's just so much resilience from TRUEWHALE's side of the field. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Dominic. There we go. There's the Dominic's taken out, and again, the Oberon is going to present so much volatility. So TRUEWHALE's going to have a lot of healing come out from this Juno, a lot of damage over time. But I don't know if TRUEWHALE has enough sustain where the Abuelo can heal off enough to keep his team up.
Yeah, I don't know about the damage either. I know we're getting a lot of additional damage out of that Juno, and the Ragdoll's going to provide all that he can. We'll find out if TRUEWHALE's got what it takes to take this round 5 victory over RAIGEKI, or is RAIGEKI going to come out on top in this game 5? Here we go.
And we see an opening from this Volantis here, and RAIGEKI's really going to be looking to get a lot of procs from the Sierra over time. Gonna need to litter the field with bombs if he wants a chance to win, but we'll see how this goes. RAIGEKI has a very well-runed Sierra. It's not a lot of damage that Juno did to it.
You're going to see the additional damage coming out more and more with these Oracles on the field. I think the priority for TRUEWHALE definitely is going to be focusing down this Ciara no matter what. Going for a wild blow, not really getting any value out of it. Bombs coming out on top of the Nana. Nana does take that bomb. Does he choose to detonate or not? Chooses not to. Gets the additional turn though, so bombs coming up next turn.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage going on to this Nana, already at half health there, and you see TRUEWHALE just tunneling down the Sierra here. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. Juno's going to need to blow its skill 2 here, but it's going to be a tough spot for TRUEWHALE here. I mean, there's a lot of damage coming out from RAIGEKI, lots of bombs, lots of additional damage.
Yeah, he needed to see a couple more Despair Stuns in there. He did get a little bit of value getting that Despair Stun on top of the Praha. We get another bomb available with the Ciara. Ciara's looking to apply this bomb potentially to the Nana to remove that unit from the field.
Yeah, and again, we see why TRUEWHALE pre-banned that Sierra. That Sierra's doing so much, and that's a massive proc coming from this Praha here.
Yeah, big proc there, able to sleep everybody on side of TRUEWHALE's side of the field, healing up his own team. Skill 2's coming out, maybe on the Ciara. He's looking for more bombs, potentially.
Yeah, and that Juno kind of looks like it has Guardian 1 artifacts, only doing 1.5 damage per hit here, so definitely not a RAIGEKI Juno. So TRUEWHALE's really going to need to find a way to get some damage in on RAIGEKI.
Yeah, he is. He's looking really, really low with all these bombs that are coming out as fast as they are. Nana still on the field, not being destroyed by that bomb yet. We've got Shizuka with no skills up just yet.
Yeah, Shizuka's going to have skill 2 up coming in. Sierra does have more bombs. TRUEWHALE's looking a little shaky here. RAIGEKI's just looking for his opportunity to be able to sink in damage and avoid and play around the heals from Abuelo here. It's a lot of damage, and those are massive procs coming out from Sierra.
Yeah, definitely some big procs and massive additional damage coming out of that CR first skill as well. Juno trying to look for some value, potentially going for a big strip here. No, choosing to go for skill 1 onto the CR. CR being the unit priority for TRUEWHALE still.
Yeah, TRUEWHALE does need to take out that Sierra. That's just too many bombs coming up. But at this point, Sierra does have another bomb coming up because of how much it procced here. And there's not enough heal, not enough sustain coming out from Obelio. Obelio did not proc enough here. So TRUEWHALE is going to be losing his Ragdoll and probably losing his Nana next.
Yeah, very much so. There goes the Nana. There goes the Ragdoll. I think that's going to be it for TRUEWHALE. TRUEWHALE's trying to hold on to dear life there. Does get that Despair Stun out on the CR. Ciara with the additional turn. Bomb getting planted. He's going to choose to detonate. Is that going to be it here? And it might be.
Might be enough, but even if he's able to survive this onslaught here, that's a massive proc. Does get the heal for the Juno here, so it really is anyone's game at this point, but RAIGEKI still has a lot of momentum.
RAIGEKI really does have a lot of momentum. Praha is going to be providing so much damage, all that additional damage out there. Keep in mind, you're still going to get the value out of the Shizuka third skill. There is a lot of bombs there. He's able to place another bomb by bringing back that Ciara back here. We'll see if Abela is going to be able to take that one.
And we actually see 2,000 hits going on to this Volantis, so that is actually a well-runed Juno, just a really well-runed Ciara as well here. TRUEWHALE does need to do a lot of damage, might be able to take out this Volantis here.
Yeah, we'll see. He does get it with a wild blow, drops that Volantis. We've got no additional turns coming out of the Shizuka, more additional damage coming out of the first skill up this Praha, potentially onto the Juno. Chooses to go after the Abelio instead.
Wow, and this is so difficult for RAIGEKI here. He needs to get through this Abelio blow. Abelio does, and Abelio blows up there, does not have heal and dies.
Abelio gets removed from the field. I feel like TRUEWHALE needed that Despair Stun on top of the Shizuka. I don't think RAIGEKI is going to use that third skill because Juno's just going to heal up from all of the everything Shizuka will apply to it.
Definitely not. This Praha does so much damage, and there goes Juno. And RAIGEKI's able to upset TRUEWHALE 3-2.
3-2, RAIGEKI taking down TRUEWHALE.
Again, just yet another treat here in the preliminaries. And what is an upset happens as RAIGEKI books his ticket to New York City and the America's Cup. And it is, again, nerves for TRUEWHALE fans, where TRUEWHALE is going to have to do it through the elimination bracket next Saturday. The highest rated player in North America is going to have to do it the tough way, and we know how tough the elimination bracket will be with some of those names that are there. But let's celebrate RAIGEKI for a moment, who again, underbelieved. No one believed in him. No one thought he was going to be able to do it. Had to do it the hard way. Had to come back down 2-1 and is able to pull that one out and almost got turned around there at the end by these crazily tuned units here by TRUEWHALE. Guys, what is going on this year in America's Cup? Please talk to me here, Stoic.
I mean, there's just been so much back and forth, and like we keep saying, is stop counting people out because there's nobody to count out here. RAIGEKI took down an absolute monster in the form of TRUEWHALE.
He did, definitely did, and again, earned his spot into America's Cup. It is always tough, it is always brutal, but always beautiful. The 16 players that are all deserving getting cut down to 8, and now we have one final spot this weekend to book in our last matchup of the day. Let's take a look at it. It is MADREAMDY and BIGV, last year's America's Cup Finals, last year's 2 representatives at the World Finals for the Americas region. So let's get it, guys. I mean, we've had a heck of a day of big matches. Now we have ourselves the upset. Now MADREAMDY and BIGV. MADREAMDY trying to get revenge for what happened last year here, Stoic.
Yep, that's right. I mean, BIGV being the champion of last year, having to go up against MADREAMDY here. They're obviously very familiar with each other. I can't help but give a little bit of favor to BIGV in this match.
Again, you got to see how MADREAMDY took care of business against DRMZJOSEPH, who was able to battle back just as DRMZJOSEPH in his Mind Palace always is, but MADREAMDY came out on top and got a bunch of procs there. What were we calling him there? It was Maprocty? Was that what the nickname was? Making a bud?
That is his new name when you have Chung Peng take back-to-back procs like that, skill 2 into 3, and then have your Oliver proc on top of it. Your name isn't MADREAMDY, it's Maprocty with all those procs, and that's going to be the difference maker in this matchup. I really like how BIGV has handled THOMPSIN 2-0, very commanding drafts, lots of LD units here. But MADREAMDY also has some very good LD units. We have not seen Yeonhong yet. We didn't really see a ton of that Pontos. So there's a lot of different LDs from different players here. And we'll see who procs more. We'll see what the resist looks like. I give the edge a little bit to Big V here, given the fact of he took out THOMPSIN 2-0, made it look pretty easy here, looks so strong. And MADREAMDY is a great player too, but as noted, there are times in which his draft can be a little off. So we'll see which MADREAMDY comes to play.
Well, let's dive into his opponent. It's Big V, and as much as we had Maprocty for MADREAMDY, we've got big violent procs here for Big V, who again, reigning America's Cup champion, one of the highest rated players to ever finish in the Americas region at the World Finals at 3rd last year. And again, handled that big matchup against THOMPSIN. This feels like, again, just another treat. Anytime we get to watch Big V play, it's just a gift. And I cannot wait to see what he brings in this one, Stoic.
I really do. I can't wait to see what he brings into this match as well. Like Naked said, we haven't seen the Yeonhong yet, and Yeonhong has that ability to really open up opportunities for MADREAMDY, so we haven't seen a lot of units from Big V as well. I mean, clearly he was playing a lot of Vivid Shell, which we haven't seen tonight. We did see the Gianna very briefly, and luckily we're able to catch some Narsha matches, which pairs up really well with the Nana, so I'm expecting to see something similar, a little bit more Nana and a little bit more Narsha coming out of Big V as well.
All right, well, prediction time, y'all. You got the last one wrong. Can you fix it this time? Big V and MADREAMDY. Let's start with you, Stoic. Who you got?
I am gonna go with MADREAMDY
this time. Woohoo! Okay, why is that?
I'm trying to be different.
All right, thank you. That was your analysts, y'all. This is them. Go ahead, make it a bud. Who you got?
I think Big V takes it, but only 3-2. I mean, I think procs are 22%. I am a big believer in law of large numbers, and you can't proc forever, but who knows? Anything can happen in SWC, and everyone's runes are at a point where a proc does change the outcome of a game. So I like Big V's draft. I like Big V's set of units a bit more, but really anything can happen.
We had our predictions. We had the heart prediction from MADREAMDY and the mind prediction there for Big V. Who will win and book their ticket to America's Cup? Let's find out. Final match of the day, Big V versus MADREAMDY in a rematch of the 2021 America's Cup Finals.
And here we go, guys, as we get into this best of 5 with Big V versus MADREAMDY. Pre-bans coming out right here.
And it'll be interesting in these pre-bans here to see what they prioritize to take out from each other's boxes, whether it's an LD unit or a core unit here. I think MADREAMDY could be looking to take out the Ragdoll from Big V's if he wants to open with Yeonhong and go aggressive. So if you see a Ragdoll takeout, as we're seeing here, I think MADREAMDY is probably going to lean in more towards that Yeonhong style of play. Big V taking out the Dark Onimusha is a little interesting here. I would have expected him to take out, a Yeonhong or something more aggressive from MADREAMDY.
Well, and it looks like Oliver is going to be the unit that MADREAMDY is going to be prioritizing here in this draft.
Yeah, MADREAMDY is definitely looking to tee off a higher speed, faster match here, but again, not committed to that Oliver. Just so good being able to reset units, proc a million times, and dominate a match here. So that's a good flex pick. Big V should be leaning into a Masha at some point in the game. Masha is the exact counter you're going to need to fight an Oliver. Takes the Gianna really quickly, and we see an instant pick of a slower team going Juno and Shizuka.
Yeah, Juno and Shizuka. I believe MADREAMDY had an insanely fast Juno as well, if I remember correctly. Big V looking to respond to those two drafts.
And I would like to see a Narsha coming out from Big V at some point. Taking the Cadiz, which is an interesting pick here. I would have liked to see a Narsha to threaten a little bit more instant kill, instant snipe action here. Goes for the long run play of a Molly into that Juno, into that Oliver to make it a little awkward. We do see that Yeonhong. We know MADREAMDY is trying to go aggressive here. But that Yeonhong is going to be soloed and is going to be focused down by Big V. That's going to be the first target of attack. So Big V's probably looking to exploit that weakness there. When he lays a Praha like this, I think he's taking out Oliver and just looking to win over time with some sort of burst and be able to pick up his team and heal with the Praha and the Molly.
Yeah, because we've seen Cadiz pop off in yesterday's tournament. Cadiz can be very, very surprised with how much damage that he can bring, and we've seen builds where it's either triple revenge or maybe just violent revenge, so it could be a lot of things coming out of Big V here.
And I think MADREAMDY might be scared of the Molly here. There we go. It's the Molly and the Oliver, because the Molly presents the most volatility in this matchup. And of course, the Oliver has to be taken out, especially when you present a Praha last pick here. I do like Big V's draft a little bit more because MADREAMDY doesn't really have a ton of burst. But it'll depend if that Nana is able to get some defense breaks off and give MADREAMDY a window of opportunity.
We'll see what happens as we get into the first match between Big V and MADREAMDY. Yunhong going to be kicking us off with first turn here.
Yeah, and Yunhong's going to open up. That's a lot of damage, but unfortunately did not get that strip.
Yeah, no strips coming out there at all. Maybe he's going to try and take advantage of that branding effect that is sitting on top of that Juno to pummel in the damage, and I think he is going to be doing that exactly.
Yeah, MADREAMDY here really needs to land a defense break from that Nana and hopefully get some stuns next, because this is going to be a lot of damage that's coming onto this Juno. This Masha's going to hurt quite a bit here.
If Shizuka laying that skill 2 back onto Yunhong to get that skill 2 up on Yunhong. We've got bombs potentially coming out here with the Gianna as well. He could go for a strip and remove that soul protection top of the Gianna. Just not a ton of value in doing so.
Yeah, and we see that Cadiz has revenge twice, so this might be a triple revenge build that we see out the Asia circuit a lot of times. So this Cadiz is going to be really annoying for MADREAMDY to deal with over time.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, we do have a lot of negative effects sitting on top of the Juno. It is sleeping right now, so he's going to go and try and pummel him the damage there. Masha should be there to finish off that Juno.
Wow, and that's a huge proc from that Gianna. Goes and takes out that Juno.
Yeah, big violent proc right there from the Gianna, able to cycle in all that additional damage with the first skill. Charge Vitality's up and will not be interesting enough. It will be used on itself.
Yeah, and he uses on himself, wants to do some damage and strip that Masha there. Interesting that he did not go after the Praha and maybe do some damage, but clearly MADREAMDY's Yunhong might not do enough. Big V's in a really good spot here, has 4 units to 3 here, and just got a massive proc on that Praha.
Yeah, really good proc right there. He's going to take advantage of the branding effects here. Also laying him down, getting more dots. Gianna with another additional turn, pummeling in that first skill damage on top of the Yunhong. Yunhong not having charge vitality up here to able to heal itself up. No more orbs sitting on top of the Nana either.
Yeah, and that's 2 procs that we've seen from Gianna. And that's so many revenges coming out from this Cadiz here. So Big V really getting some decent RNG here. Lots of control coming out from Big V's side. 2 dots on the Yunhong. I don't see a way for MADREAMDY to take this one.
Yeah, landing that strip as well, removing that soul protection off of Yunhong. Yunhong is going to get removed from the field, using first skill to cycle a little bit of attack bar and kill that Yunhong. Definitely going to be it for MADREAMDY here. MADREAMDY is going to take his time, understanding he needs to get into match 2 and rethink his strategy.
Yeah, it definitely does need to do that. I mean, Big V looking so good. Those LD units just so powerful here. MADREAMDY losing the Nana there. Only has Shizuka. Should take his time to think about how he wants to draft in the next game.
That is correct. Big V taking round 1 away from MADREAMDY.
Interesting pick there. I mean, I really like the approach of going turn 1 when you lay down the Oliver and then you have a Yunhong in your back pocket, but I don't know if MADREAMDY should have gone with that level of passive play. I think if you're going to lay down Oliver and Yunhong, I really think you need things like Tomo, you need things like Changpeng, you need to go in and lay the aggression in earlier. I would like to see something like that from MADREAMDY if he's going to play with that level of speed, because you got fast units, you've invested in a lot of speed there, you're going to need to be able to use that to get an advantage early on.
We'll see if that's what happens getting into this round 2 between MADREAMDY and Big V. But I really, really like Big V's drafting right now. Big V is being super aggressive, and we love to see it. The Cadiz, built on triple revenge, really proving itself with all those revenges on that field.
Yeah, I mean, that Cadiz on triple revenge really feels like it's on 12 revenge runes. I think it got pretty much every single revenge proc there. So, little lucky by Big V. I don't think it really made a difference there. Big V just had a great draft overall, and of course that Gianna proccing twice doesn't hurt either. But I would like to see MADREAMDY have a draft that kind of fits a little bit better together. I mean, if you're going to go Yunhong Oliver, you need some more juice in the middle of that in order to take over the game.
Well, let's see if he changes it up. Pre-bans are out. Oliver getting pre-banned, and Nana getting pre-banned by Big V.
Interesting for MADREAMDY to take out the Oliver. Basically perceives that Oliver is the key unit between the 2 of them. So Big V likely to take probably some sort of a Shizuka early on or something in play turn 2. But we could see any style of play, really. I mean, he has a whole bunch of LDs, so it's up to him to dictate how he wants his match to go.
Big V's got that first pick, and he's taking his time here. We haven't seen anybody take their time on their very first pick, and Big V chooses to lock in that Shizuka.
Yeah, you would expect with players doing their homework that they would know exactly which units they want to take first and counter pick 1 and 2. We do see that Shizuka lay down there. MADREAMDY does not have an Oliver to take into it, but I think he might be thinking some LD units. We could see a Masha. Masha's still a great pick here. More Changpeng is also perfectly fine into this. So many ways you can take it, and this is going to show you what he's thinking about for his later picks.
Wow, again, a Juno's getting high priority in first picks here with so many people alongside a Yeonhong.
I would like to see a Masha here. MADREAMDY's basically opened himself to a Masha here. Does have a fast unit from the Yeonhong, but I think the Juno and the Yeonhong are going to be weak to a Masha over time. So if Big V could find a way to enable a Masha to win, that would be his path to victory. But of course, I mean, he has LD units here, and Ragdoll, as we've noticed, is always good into a Juno and pretty good into a Yeonhong as well.
Yep, Ragdoll and Praha being drafted here. I do like these 2 units coming out of Big V. He's able to get a lot of value with these 3 units already being drafted. MADREAMDY looking to respond.
Yeah, and I was about to say the Dark Onimusha is a great pick here because it does not crit. And so this is going to be a great pick into Big V. I do like that Changpeng pick. Lots of aggression coming out. Could be a little awkward if the Changpeng and the Ragdoll are there together because there's a lot of turn disruption. So MADREAMDY here probably should think about banning the Ragdoll, at least the way the draft looks right now.
Yep, Masha is being drafted by Big V. We wanted to see it earlier, and I think we still wanted to see it now for Big V's draft. One more pick in the form of Diana is going to see some action.
Interesting pick on the Diana here. It's not exactly the best in the Juno, but it's good into all 3 other units here. I do like that Masha. I felt like Big V is going to need a draft in a way to enable a Masha to win the game here. And MADREAMDY really couldn't take a Masha into whatever Big V has. So that draft is great. So far, we'll see what MADREAMDY decides to bring in. It really could be anything. Could be a form of sustain. I would like to see a little bit more aggression. I think aggression would help him win the game. Some sort of a Tianlang and Isis would be great. But it goes with the Joe Gun. So some sort of a strip gives him some control here and also gives him attack buffs, which is going to enable that Dark Onimusha.
Yeah, we'll see if that's going to be enough here for MADREAMDY. Bans are going to be coming out shortly. And we have...
Gotta take out that Ragdoll. You're gonna need to take out that Ragdoll if your Joe Gun's your last pick. I think MADREAMDY ran out of time with that last pick there, is why the timer looks like this. If this is the pick that comes out, you have to take out that Ragdoll. So that's exactly what it does there. Changpeng goes out there. So MADREAMDY is gonna have an opening with a Yeonhong. He's gonna need to do enough damage with this Dark Onimusha to give him a lead off the bat.
No HP leads for both players here. Is it gonna be enough to find out if Big V is going to take this victory? MADREAMDY is going to go 1-1. Blade Fan comes out with Yeonhong. Does not land true.
Does not land. Has not landed in the previous game and does not land right now. And that Joe Gun also missing 2 critical strips.
Oof, no strip happening on this Shizuka as well. Going with the big AoE damage from this Dark Onimusha. Not getting a dismount though on the Masha. Masha with the defense break available here. Going to pummel him the damage and does land that defense break.
Does land that defense break, and I think Big V is going to get a lot of momentum here, especially with that speed buff. That Masha's going to do a lot of damage on the backswing. That Dark Onimusha just not doing enough damage, and Big V is going to be in a good spot.
And not even landing a sleep on the Juno, and the Juno would be able to heal up that Dark Onimusha, but Masha's going to continue to put the damage into that Dark Onimusha. Juno trying to psych a little bit of attack bar. Looks like the dismount is what MADREAMDY has in mind. We do have a 3rd skill. He can use that to keep players down, but he chooses to go for a skill 2 onto the Praha.
Yeah, I think Big V is going to take out this Dark Onimusha really soon. This Dark Onimusha just got a massive proc though. Might dismount that Masha, but does not do so.
Yeah, big proc right there. Diana might be the what's in store for Big V. Can he get rid of the Dark Onimusha with it? I believe so. Lots of damage coming through. Transforming back into the unicorn form. No stun coming out onto Yeonhong.
Wow, so much aggression coming out from Big V. Taking out the Dark Onimusha. Dark Onimusha, definitely a weak unit in this matchup. Did not kill anything. Basically didn't do anything at all here. So the Yeonhong's going to be able to boost around, but there is no burst damage on MADREAMDY's side right now. So looking a little tough for MADREAMDY to be able to claw his way back in.
Yeah, most definitely. Charge Vitality coming out. Get that heal onto Yeonhong. Looking for some Despair Stones. Potentially just going to be tunneling it into this Diana here.
Yeah, I might just be sitting on this Diana. Do not want to give enough. Does not want to give it attack bar. But again, you do need to take care of that Masha, because that Masha, when dismounted, hurts a lot. So that's exactly what MADREAMDY is going for. But Big V just has so much resilience on his team and so much damage. It's the quit button could be pressed at any moment.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, there's a lot of things being applied to the field right now, but he does wake up the Juno, so it's just one less debuff that's going to be healed here. Masha destroys that Juno.
Yeah, Masha destroys that Juno, destroys that Yeonhong. Where's that quit button? It's over.
And Big V taking round 2 away from MADREAMDY.
Wow, what a lot of aggression from Big V there. And I can't help but think maybe that Jogun was a mispick. You saw that timer run out from MADREAMDY, and as you went into that ban phase, you saw that that timer was kind of expired. And that's happened to me a lot on the ladder, where I run out of time. There's so many LD units you could pick from that you kind of, you kind of have a brain fart there. And so he laid down a Jogun, which wasn't really great in that matchup, which forced him to have to ban out that Ragdoll. And when you have to ban out that Ragdoll, there's so much aggression coming at you later. And so Big V had a great draft and was able to take him out.
Yeah, most definitely. A very, very aggressive draft from Big V. A not so aggressive draft coming out of MADREAMDY. We finally get to see the Yeonhong. Yeonhong not proving enough there. Even if there was some procs in the favor of MADREAMDY, it just, I don't think he would have had enough. Masha really, really popped off for Big V.
Yeah, I mean, I think MADREAMDY did have a lot of aggression in terms of bringing in that Dark Onimusha, but that Dark Onimusha did about 70% at best, and like 70% with an attack buff. So that's not quite enough, and when you don't damage the units, you don't kill the units, and the Praha's there to heal everything up, basically you just used everything off the bat, and you don't have anything left in the tank.
Well, we have Oliver and Nana now available getting into this round 3. Big V could go for the big sweep here with MADREAMDY. Pre-bans are locked in. Ragdoll and the Dark Onimusha are pre-banned.
So same pre-bans as that first match. We'll see what MADREAMDY is thinking about. I think Oliver is obviously going to be the first pick, and we're going to probably see some sort of a Juno and some sort of a Shizuka pick from Big V here. Nana, we see a deviation from his original strategy.
Nana being the priority unit for MADREAMDY, potentially something he's trying to take away from Big V. Oliver is going to get some action here for Big V this time, taking that away from MADREAMDY.
Yeah, Nana might be a defensive pick against the Narsha that Big V has in his back pocket, but you can't really play defensive all the time, especially when your opponent has all these LDs, and Oliver is going to be really good into most of your units. So not sure about that Nana first pick. I really do like that pick of the Oliver, and the Shizuka is an acceptable pick, and basically tells us that this match is going to be kind of a mid-pace match. It's not going to be a lot of hyper-aggression off the bat.
Most definitely. MADREAMDY really taking his time here on the 2 units that he's looking to draft here after seeing Oliver and Shizuka.
I would like to, Masha makes a lot of sense. I would like to see a Changpeng at some point from MADREAMDY. I think a Changpeng would be very powerful. Yeonhong here is fine to give him some first turn, some speed, but I think a Changpeng would be very dominant if Big V doesn't go into some sort of a Juno play. As is, I think those picks make a lot of sense. Big V could counter with some other LD units, goes with the Cadiz. We saw how effective that triple revenge Cadiz was, but MADREAMDY could easily choose to avoid that Cadiz, so I'm not exactly sure about Cadiz in this situation. But it is LD, so LD units are generally very good. And we see the Obelio, which is going to make it a little awkward for MADREAMDY to get a unit down.
Yep, so Obelio and Cadiz being drafted by Big V. MADREAMDY looking to respond. I'm not sure what other LDs he can bring to the table. Maybe the Pontos to try and get some value out of that.
I don't think we're going to see a Pontos because there's a Cadiz, but I would love to see a Changpeng. A Changpeng is really good here. Even into a triple revenge Cadiz, a Changpeng is going to give him a lot of versatility in this matchup, a lot of swings here that he's going to need to go his favor. Time's running out here. Does take that Changpeng, but runs out of time and goes with the Juno. And I'm not sure how this Juno is. It's not a bad pick into Shizuka and Oliver, but doesn't give him quite enough burst. If he loses that Masha, if Big V chooses to ban that Masha out, I don't know what type of burst MADREAMDY has aside from a defense break on the Changpeng's side.
Wow, MADREAMDY running out of time again. This is another occasion where we're seeing someone who must be a little nervous, unprepared from our second round finisher of last year's America's Cup.
Interesting. So when I see a Praha come out like this, it makes me feel like Changpeng is going to be the ban from Big V's side here, and he's going to let the Masha through, which makes a lot of sense. He has an Obelio here, and it's going to be a little tough to get some burst damage going. Takes out the Cadiz, and the Changpeng is banned as expected.
Yeah, definitely a very interesting draft here. Big V with the big victory in his sights. Speed leads coming out. Big V trying to get that victory here. Here we go, guys. MADREAMDY, Big V, round 3.
Yeah, and this is just going to come down to that Yeonhong not stripping again 3 times in a row. That Yeonhong has not stripped a single time.
Yep, what a terrible unit. Yeonhong not able to get any value here.
Yeah, I really think that Yeonhong does need a buff. It does need a strip on skill 2 and lower cool time on skill 3 and give it a speed leader skill would be a great addition to Yeonhong's kit here. And I see that Big V is starting to abuse this Oliver. That's going to be his path to victory here. But DRMZJOSEPH is going to need to snipe out this Oliver at some point and balance around this Abuelio.
Well, there's that soul protection going out and bringing the cooldowns down on top of that Oliver. Big V trying to finish off the Yeonhong, possibly getting the resets here. Masha looking to apply some big damage defense break that is going to proc the passive of the Abuelio.
And that's an absolutely massive miss of the strip from the Juno earlier. Makes it so that Masha is not able to permanently remove that Oliver from the field. So Big V's able to pick up that Oliver with the heals from the Abuelio.
There's a provoke sitting on top of the Masha, on top of the Yeonhong here. And the despair stuns coming out from Nana. No despair stuns, but 2 orbs sitting on top of Nana.
Yeah, and that's a massive proc from that Praha. He's going to allow Big V to continually pummel damage into MADREAMDY here. There are 2 orbs up on Nana's side, but up on MADREAMDY's side, but that might not be enough to allow him to stay in the game here. There's going to be a lot of damage, a lot of resilience coming out from Big V as he tunnels into this Yeonhong.
And here comes the Oliver taking one of those orbs away, taking down the Yeonhong. Yeonhong does get revived here. We have Oliver with an additional turn coming up. And not able to do anything with that.
It's just going to come down to the runing and the scatting here. We see that Oliver taking 1.6k damage per hit, so this Juno not doing as much as it could here. But again, we're going to see this Yeonhong go down at some point soon. It's going to be this Yeonhong versus Oliver. Which unit dies first is going to dictate the flow of the match.
Yeah, Praha healing up the team in abundance here. And we've got sleeping. We have a Juno and a Yeonhong. You may choose to wake up that Juno just to stop any healing towards the Yeonhong.
Yeah, to tell you how difficult it is to get through this team here, we have a Shizuka that's going to be able to refresh cooldowns, and we have a Abuelio and Praha full team heals. So Big V has all of that resilience going for him, and MADREAMDY needs to keep this Yeonhong alive here and only has 1 orb left on that Nana.
Well, Masha's trying to get another orb here, trying to take down that Oliver. There's no more sustain, I believe. All skills are on cooldown here to get Oliver back up to health.
Yeah, but again, actually, this Oliver might be going down. There is no heals going on. That Oliver does go down, and Nana now has 2 stacks.
Yeah, Nana's got 2 stacks. Looking really good for MADREAMDY now. He's able to keep his Yeonhong alive with those 2 orbs there. And we're going to see Big V try to take away those orbs as soon as possible. Yeonhong does come back here. Yeonhong does get stunned here as well.
Yeonhong, that is a massive stun on the Yeonhong. That's also a massive stun on the Shizuka, but the Shizuka is able to proc out of it and does have skill 2 up coming next turn.
A lot of damage coming out of that Masha onto the Shizuka. Only provoke is going to be landing on top of the Nana there. We're going to see a first skill to take out the Yeonhong once again. No additional turn with no skills up on top of Yeonhong.
Yeah, and Big B being very, very judicious with the use of his heals here. Needs to keep a heal available to pick up his team because that is a lot of burst that can come up from that Masha if it's able to land a defense break. So MADREAMDY needs to get lucky and take out a unit and give Nana another stack because he's about to lose his Yeonhong here.
Yeah, Yeonhong has no charge vitality coming out anytime soon. We have a third skill that is available. He does choose to do it, so Yeonhong will be able to get... Yeonhong's not going to get any sustain here because the sleep does not land on top of the Juno.
Yeah, Yeonhong is going to be going down here, so we're going to have 3 units of 3 here, and MADREAMDY has 2 fire units versus 3 water units of Big V, so Big V is going to be in a pretty good spot here. MADREAMDY needs to land this defense break.
Oh, he doesn't get the defense break, but there's no heal available on top of Abuelio. Nice little stun going out onto the Nana. We do have skills available on top of Shizuka. You might just go with the skill 2 on himself to get that soul protection up with cooldowns as well. Additional turn's going to be popping up.
Not sure if he wants to use that, if that Juno has strip available, but we saw earlier that Masha doing a double crit on water, so maybe you don't need to land defense break, you just need to crit 2 times. That's going to be a massive strip coming up if the Juno's able to land it.
Big strip right there, getting a ton of value out of that Juno. Masha dropped the Shizuka. Additional turns are going to be popping up here. An orb is back on top of the Nana. Nana being the unit of focus for Big V.
So much damage coming out from MADREAMDY, landing defense break. So many crits coming out. Wow.
Yeah, a lot of crits coming out of this Juno. No matter what, the elements here, he is getting the crits that he needs to deal this damage. MADREAMDY with a great response here.
And there we go. MADREAMDY is going to be able to take a match back, taking it to 1-2. We're not going to see a 3-0 sweep today.
We are not seeing that 3-0 sweep. MADREAMDY winning round 3 from Big V.
Wow, and I really feel like that match really could have gone either way. There's a lot of resilience coming out from Big V's side. You have that Praha, you have that Abuelio, you have Shizuka that can refresh the skills. Actually, in the middle at this point, there was a point where Big V chose to use Shizuka's skill 2 to refresh Praha. And I thought he could have potentially used that skill 2 onto his Abuelio to potentially allow it to proc. And if it would proc, it would protect his Oliver. And so because he didn't do that, and he didn't proc anyways, he lost his Oliver early on. But what really made the difference there was, while that Masha didn't land defense break, it landed crits. So that's just about as good. We saw that Shizuka go from basically full HP to nothing because of a double crit from fire onto water. So, I mean, that's a really, really powerful Masha there. Able to crit fire onto water back to back.
There was a lot of opposite element critting going on in that match. We'll see if that's going to continue as we get into match number 4 with MADREAMDY and Big V. Pre-bans are right here. Oliver and Nana are going to be the pre-ban units. Big V with the first pick.
Yeah, and Big V probably going to go with the Shizuka as he did earlier. But I just like aggression. I would like to see some sort of Masha, some sort of Narsha play here. I think that's very consistent. Usually when you can remove units off the field, it's a very consistent way to play. But the Shizuka is just a great unit overall. I think MADREAMDY is going to want to take a Juno at some point in this draft. It's just depending on if he takes it here or if he takes it later. He doesn't have an Oliver, so I think we're going to see maybe potentially like a Masha, Yanhong. Juno is definitely a great unit to take now because he doesn't want Big V to take it next. But we'll see if he takes that Yanhong, and that's exactly what he goes with.
I feel like this early pick Shizuka is stopping MADREAMDY for even thinking about Pontos here. But I do like to see the Yanhong and the Juno coming out finally for MADREAMDY.
Yeah, that's a great point here. I mean, one would think that when you give invincibility, it makes that Shizuka a lot better, but Pontos in general is just such a versatile unit. Gives you that speed lead, and also gives you, I mean, you have that cleanse. You have that invincibility, so I would like to see it. We see a Destiny! We are seeing a Destiny! Wow, I love this unit. This unit's gonna have the ability to do a ton of damage, give Oblivion, and a Leona. Okay, we're seeing the LD units come out. This is exciting.
Oh, he's taking them back. Things are about to get wild. I feel like MADREAMDY was just listening to you and be like, you want the LDs? Here they are. And he does it anyways. We've got Destiny and we've got the Dark Onimusha coming out for MADREAMDY.
Wow, I love this Destiny pick here. MADREAMDY is gonna need one more speed unit to enable his team here. So, or maybe some sort of a Changpeng or something to grant control. But that Destiny has the ability to give Oblivion, defense break, and do just a ton of damage off the bat, and then do another stack of damage with his other skills. So Big V lays the double Beast Riders and lays a Narsha and Masha here. Really love those picks. Threatens the turn 1 ability. I think Yanhong is probably the ban that makes the most sense here, given the fact that MADREAMDY could pop off. MADREAMDY is going to need to kind of counter this by taking some sort of an Ethna. A Tianlang would be nice, but I don't think he has that. I would like to see a Pontos too. A Pontos would be a great way to kind of protect himself on the backcourt.
It looks like he's going to go with a Changpeng as MADREAMDY's last pick. A very exciting draft here in our round 4 between MADREAMDY and Big V.
Yeah, and the X factor here really might be the Destiny. As much as I'd like to see the Destiny, I think it might be the right pick, right ban, because it just does so much damage off the bat. So I think the crowd wants to see the Destiny, but I think that's the correct ban from Big V. Because if you let Yanhong pop off, he might not be able to kill something off the bat. But if you give him the Destiny, yeah, there we go. We're not going to see the Destiny, unfortunately. So as much as we wanted to see it, we're denied that pick there. So unfortunate, but still a lot of exciting units in here. We have a lot of damage coming out from both sides.
Yep, we all want to see that Destiny, but it might not be MADREAMDY's Destiny in this round. Here we go. Yanhong's going to be kicking off with the Blade Fan, looking for a strip at least one game.
And this Yanhong is broken here. Definitely needs a buff because it's missed strip 4 times in a row here. So unfortunate here, and right away that Beast Rider is dismounted.
Right away, it is dismounted. We have the defense break up for this Masha, looking to get some value for Big V. He's able to land that defense break. He does land on the Dark Onimusha. Third skill is available. Will receive a heal on top of the Juno if he chooses to go for it.
Yeah, that's a lot of value that this third skill is going to bring. It's going to allow MADREAMDY to get stunned up here, and Big V's going to have a lot of momentum going his way and take out this Dark Onimusha.
Oh, beautiful additional turn. He's going to take a Dark Onimusha down, even though the Narsha has been dismounted. It is going to help Big V get the edge on top of MADREAMDY.
Yeah, Big V should really think about taking out that Dark Onimusha because that Juno is going to be able to heal it here, and if he doesn't, that Dark Onimusha is going to do a lot of damage. So this Dark Onimusha needs to go down on this shot here.
Oh, he's so lucky he got the additional turns here to drop that unit.
Oh yeah, the Dark Onimusha has the passive, which allows it to stay alive here. So Big V is going to be taking a lot of damage on the backswing when Dark Onimusha wakes up here. But it has a dot, so it goes down there anyways. So Big V does pummel in a lot of damage with the Masha there. And Big V's just looking so good here. I mean, this Juno here is going to do a lot of damage, but Chungpung's going to need a couple procs.
Most definitely. Well, Chungpung's going to try and do his best to hold on, to keep MADREAMDY in this match, but it's looking very, very good for Big V right now. He does have the dismounted Masha, but Masha can still apply so much damage.
Yeah, it does have a big glancing up on it, which may protect MADREAMDY a bit here. MADREAMDY's going to need to proc a couple times on that Chungpung to come back. That Juno's also going to need to work overtime if he wants a chance to come back.
Let's see what kind of damage we're going to see. Is it glancing sitting on top of the Masha? Masha may not even Masha crits through glance either way.
And MADREAMDY's taking his time here, knows he needs this proc, does not get the proc unfortunately, so we're going to see that Chungpung is going to drop here and we're going to need a Juno solo.
We are going to need a Juno solo and feel like it's just not going to happen here. Brings back the Nasha. Nasha removes that unit from the field. It's just a lonely Juno. And in a match between Juno and Praha, can't help but favor that Praha.
Can't help but favor that Praha. And you also have a Shizuka that's going to be able to control attack bars a little bit and has skills up. So that Juno is going to need a Despair Stun every single time if he wants a chance to win.
It is possible. We have seen moments like that before. But we'll see if that happens here. He goes with the revive, back onto the Masha. Masha gets the defense break, doesn't finish off that Juno just yet. Another Despair Stun's coming out here. Just a little first skill to do some damage to that Juno. Juno with no Despair Stun there. And there you have it, Big V taking down MADREAMDY.
You could change the year, but in the same matchup, we have the same victory here. Big V taking the victory on over MADREAMDY. You'll take a look at the scoreboard and say, hey, maybe it wasn't close, but you see the creativity between Big V and MADREAMDY and why these two were the representatives from the Americas region in last year's SWC Finals. But in the end, it is Big V moving on to America's Cup to defend his title from last year, and he had to do it the hard way against MADREAMDY and THOMPSIN. And on the opposite side, RAIGEKI, guys. RAIGEKI taking down TRUEWHALE in today's match. And out of all the matches today, all of them amazing. A gift to watch.
Yeah, I really couldn't pick a favorite match, to be honest with you. There was just so many of these matches today were absolutely outstanding. TRUEWHALE, RAIGEKI, even Big V and THOMPSIN, the Big V and MADREAMDY matches, just everything really was an outstanding match. Like, nothing was complete. All right, that's a lie. There was only one completely one-sided match, and it may have been MADREAMDY versus DRMZJOSEPH, where it was an absolute nightmare for DRMZJOSEPH. But that's the only one. Otherwise, it was just nothing but absolute bangers like we had called it before.
Make it a butt.
I mean, I really like seeing all the LD units. I mean, it just warms my heart to see all these nice units come out. Unfortunately, we weren't able to see that Destiny in action. I mean, the head said ban it, the heart said please don't. And unfortunately, Big V wanted to win. He does want to go on America's Cup, and he does want to win some prize money, so he had to make the right ban. But I really would have liked to see that Destiny. But overall, great matches today. Lots of creative play, lots of use of Shizuka, Nana, back and forths, lots of balance between aggression and survivability. I thought most of the players today played very well.
With that, congratulations one more time to our qualifiers. It's Big V and it's RAIGEKI joining the fellows from yesterday, making it into America's Cup. Remember, we're not done yet. Next Saturday, we got ourselves the elimination bracket. So all of your favorites that lost either yesterday or today still have their eyes set on redemption. 4 more tickets will be booked. And of course, again, end of the day means it's time for a little bit of goodies coming your way. And of course, it starts with we're baking up some good stuff between Summoner's War and Cookie Run Kingdom. Delicious, delectable treats, including a Nat 5 cookie giveaway and a collaboration exclusive scroll that will drop in game coming soon, August 29th. And that's how the cookie crumbles. Again, keep your eyes for it when it comes on out. And time for everyone's favorite part of the show, coupon code time. Take a look right here. Bam! 20 Sunday 20 Sundays, Mon 22. I'm pretty sure that's how you say that one. 20 Sundays, Mon 22. There you go. Make sure you get yourself the energy and the Mr. Troll and, you know, pull with a little bit of lightning. One more time, 20 Sundays, Mon 22. All right, everyone, that does it for the first weekend of the America's Cup preliminaries. We'll be back next Saturday, same time, same place, for 4 more tickets to America's Cup. On behalf of myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew here at SWC 2022, we appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next Saturday.